What's up, everybody? This is Jose with Oakland Latinos United, aka Oakland Latinos Unidos, on here with the first official Live with Jay, number 78, for the month, for the year of 2023, for the new year. So happy New Year's to everybody out there. Hopefully, everybody had a good New Year's, and you guys, you feel me, had fun. I had fun. I had a pretty fun New Year's. But today we're live with Jay, number 78. We're gonna have a guest who's from East Oakland, California. What's up to everybody? His name is Erik Tha Sinna with Lucrative Sounds Entertainment. Local producer from Oakland, who produced some music and albums, and we're gonna talk about his history growing up in Oakland and some of the music he worked with and some of the artists he worked with, and we'll get to know him. You know what I mean? And hopefully, I believe he's on here, but hold on real quick. So, like I said, this will be the first official Live with Jay for this year. So there's the link. I'm about to post it in the comments. Just join in, and then we'll get it cracking from there. So what's up, Esepeda, Samboy? What's up, everybody else on here who's joining us today? Hopefully, you guys, like I said, had a good New Year's. Hopefully you didn't get too drunk. But yeah, man, I've been good. Working and doing what I can, working on trying to work on new content for the channel as well. You feel me? So yeah, if you're on here, Erik Tha Sinna, join. And if you want to donate a super chat or something to the Cash App, don't be afraid to help a brother out. There we go. What's going on, man? If you want to donate a super chat, can you mute your thing? I hear an echo. To help a brother
out. Let me see.
Yeah, just mute your computer.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, I think it's because I have you on the YouTube channel, and then when you asked me to link up, that's why it came up with the echo.
It's all good. So what's going on, man? How are you doing?
Good, man. First day back from work, and it was a bitch, but I had a week off. Like the company took a whole week off, but during that week, with all the floods and everything that was going on, I was just running around the whole week. So in a way, it wasn't like I had vacation and all that. But
you still live out here in the Bay Area?
Redwood City.
Oh, okay. You live up there. Yes. Oh, in the 650.
Yeah, but during that storm that happened on Saturday, I was actually up in Oakland. So
really?
Yeah.
You seen that video where some dudes were surfing in Brookfield? No, that was in Sobrani Park, I think.
Someone told me about it, but you know what? On the way back home around San Lorenzo, somebody was gonna start surfing up there, but the police had blocked the whole area, and the guy was gonna jump in with his little paddleboard, and they caught him and they took him out. So that was pretty funny. Yeah. I was gonna videotape it, but it happened too quick, and I was driving too. So
and then the entrance to the zoo is destroyed. They had a big sinkhole.
Yeah, that's what my girlfriend told me earlier, and I was like, "Whoa, that's like the first. That's never happened before."
Yeah, and yeah, we'll see. They say it's gonna rain tomorrow. It's gonna rain hard, supposedly. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So without further ado, introduce everybody to who you are.
Right. So my name is Jose Erik Gonzalez, otherwise known as you're my tocayo. So yeah. So growing up, I usually, it's funny, at school and business stuff or whatever, I go by Jose. But outside of work, outside of school and everything, everybody knows me by Erik. My whole family has always called me Erik. They've never called me Jose. My sister, in all my life, only one time she called me Jose, and that was awkward as hell. But but yes, Jose Erik Gonzalez, born and raised in Oakland. I am the current CEO, producer, rapper, artist, graphic designer, whatever you want to call it, for Lucrative Sounds Entertainment. Formerly in-house producer for Fast Track Entertainment. Former producer for Shack Records, Two Wise Entertainment, co-producer actually. And then briefly, I was the CEO, owner, producer for In My Bed Productions. but that's just like a little bit that I did that. So
Okay.
yeah.
And did you produce a lot around Oakland?
So at the beginning, when I first started, so going back to Shack Records, so the whole way that started was that at my parents' house, my dad had this really old falling down tool shed, right?
Uh-huh.
And he wanted to rebuild that. If you look at like those farmer sheds, it looked just like that when I was growing up. And then my dad decided to make it into an actual room, like for storage for whatever from outside of the house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And because my room inside the house, I never had any privacy. So I was like, screw that. I'm going to take over this room and do whatever I want, you know? And eventually I did. And it later became the place where I did my beats and everything, where I, started doing that. And that's where the name Shack Records came about because, tool shit like a shack. So I called it Shack Records. And that's where that came out.
Okay. And
Originally.
what part of Oakland? Well, let's start from the beginning.
All
So
right.
you were born in Oakland, right?
Born and raised in Oakland.
Let me
Lived
guess.
there since I was born, 79 until 2007, when I was already married and moved to San Diego for a
Where'd you
few
born?
years.
You weren't born in Highland, were you?
Nah, my sister was. I
Oh,
was born in Merritt.
okay, Merritt. Yeah.
Yeah. There were only three places, like I said it before, only three places you would be born at, either Highland, Merritt, or Alta Bates in Berkeley. That's
Yeah.
all I heard back in the days before they made Kaiser.
Yeah.
Those were like the three main hospitals in the immediate area that I can remember.
Yeah.
You know,
And what part of Oakland were you raised?
East Oakland, the 30s, between High Street and 29th Avenue, mostly Fruitvale, Foothill. That was my stomping grounds, where I grew up.
You live by where? Fruitvale by where?
By 39th Avenue, right at the corner
Oh,
of
39. Yeah.
yeah, guys, that's that
Yeah.
whole area.
Closer to what? To Foothill or to East 14th?
In between, kind of in between. Like my parents' house lies in between East 14 and Foothill, but it was like right smack in the middle, around that area.
Where the little park is, right? Where it curves?
Right near that little tiny park that connects to the 38th park. Yeah.
Yeah, and it curves right there, right?
What's that?
It curves right there.
It does. It's kind of weird because it connects. There's this little park, and then it connects to 38th, and then 38th it begins the other section of the park.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that part of 39 like kind of has a weird little curve.
That street right there in the corner, I think that's East 17th or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. That little street, because it goes further down. If you go down that street, it takes you all the way to I think it's like 42nd. No, not 42nd, 41st, right where Puff and Stuff used to be at in Foothill. Right there.
Those little streets in the back.
Yeah, those little streets. Yeah.
I know those areas real well. I know all that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that whole area right there. So you're
right down the street from what was that? Durango, the restaurant on Foothill.
So Durango, that restaurant was actually owned from some people that I know. They were friends of my sister. They were older than me, and I ended up. I kind of like after graduating high school, I caught up with my sister in college. And we all used to hang out together. So yeah, I used to know the son's owners, or I don't know if they were the owners or what. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to always go eat there all the time at that restaurant back.
They used to roast them chickens right there, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
Further down,
I remember the quesadillas with chicken were hella good.
Yep.
Yeah, and then La Finca was down the street.
La Finca, that's on 38th. I used to know people that used to work there in La Finca también, where they used to do the tamales, the masa, and tortillas. Yep.
Then across the street was the Red Sea Market.
Which one?
Red Sea Market was across the street, remember?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's the old school area. So what was it like growing up on 39th in that area?
Man, see that area, if for people that grew up in that area, back in the days, how it is now, I noticed that there's a lot of Central Americans out there now. Before, it used to be a lot of Mexican, like actual like Mexicans. It was rare if you saw someone that was Salvadorian, Nicaraguan, or Guatemalan or whatever. and but it was mostly black, like a lot of, but that little section of that, we used to call it Little Mexico, that whole area, because between High Street and 29th Avenue, that whole area was very like heavy in Latino. Growing up there, I mean, it wasn't that bad. I didn't see a lot of, I mean, I would see stuff happening, but, and then the other thing is that I would see a lot in that corner, a lot of prostitutes, man. Like that whole area, that whole street from like High Street to like 39th Avenue, they used to be posted there a lot. And then further down 35th, where that bar used to be at, and that whole area, right across from 4-Star Pizza or whatever it was called.
Yeah, 4-Star.
Yeah, and then over there by Fruitvale,
So this must be what, like the 2000s then, right?
No, that was before, man. That was like in the between. Ever since I was growing, because I lived there for many years. That whole area was a lot.
14 back in the days, but I mean, I don't know.
No, there were a lot of hookers, man. Like that place.
I remember they were more like in West Oakland when I was younger.
Nah, bro, there were a lot there in that corner, and then I would see a lot of shit,
Because I remember I started noticing them more in the 2000s, like
in the 2000s, it got heavier. It got worser. During growing up and all of that, it was like, like once in a while you would see them, but then it got heavier. Around the time that I left Oakland and came back, it got heavier. And then, but now, like, it seems more like it's not really out there no more. I mean, as far as I've seen it, I haven't been there like really late like I used to.
Down more like towards Funktown.
Yeah,
that's where you see a lot of them now.
San Pablo, that was back in the days and all of that.
When I was little, that's what I remember. Like the hookers were on San Pablo.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had a term that we used to call them. My mom used to call them catorcianas from the East 14, and we used to call them East 14ers because they were just all over the strip.
Remember when used to call High Street, like the Paisas used to call it La High.
La High. Yeah, La High. No. And that was my mom. Hey, like mijo, ve allá La High.
Yeah, and then East 14 was like 14. Then Foothill was La Fugil.
La Fugil.
Yeah.
La Fugil.
Y La Fruitvale.
La Fruitvale. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Growing up, it I used to think it was fun. I mean, my mom was really strict growing up. It wasn't until after high school, college that it got a little bit more different for me. But during that time growing up, it was very, they were very strict. I was more of a homebody, video games and all of that, which plays a major part now with the video games and stuff, because aside from doing the music, I do game reviews too. I have a channel, a separate channel. That's what I'm mostly focused on. But, I still do the music thing here and there. But that's another story.
Were you like the what was his name? The Nintendo nerd. I could say I did a lot of the video games and all of that, but I do that like I collect video games now. I do it more like collecting, and I own a big library of games, so for me it's like more kind of saving them as an investment nowadays, and more it's a different thing. It's a different turn that hobby turned into something else. But the video game thing and the music thing kind of intertwined a little bit at one point, which I'll get into it in a little bit. But yeah, that's what I do now. But music is also right there, Somebody said
growing up was cool. What's that?
Somebody said The Wizard.
The Wizard. Oh, that movie was funny. Yeah. The Wizard. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Super Mario 3?
Super Mario 3? Oh, the cartoons?
It really came out on that movie.
Oh, yeah. They say that was like the advertisement for it. That the reason they made The Wizard was just to advertise that game at that time.
So you grew up kind of in the same era I grew up, because I was born in 77. So you remember like the 80s and early 90s, early and mid 90s. For a minute in the mid 90s, I think I told you this, I left to Sacramento for a couple of years. So
right.
I missed a little bit of that, but I came back into like 95, 94 around that time.
Yeah.
But I remember how it was out there, bro. Like, it was kind of off the hook, though. I mean, I remember being off the hook already then.
Yeah, I think it all depended on, like, for me, like, it was off the hook, but then I kind of stayed out of it, and I would like to say my experiences like in high school and all that. I mean, you get into scuffles here and there, but nothing major. You kind of knew who to mess around with and who you didn't. I try to be cool with everybody. Like I try to get along with like going to school and everything. I always try to get along with everybody from the nerds to the thugs to everybody. I never, to me, I always try to show respect, like that was my thing. Show me respect back, I'll show it to you. And everybody showed me respect, I'll show you respect. So it was pretty cool, for the most part.
So you never had problems with like, because that was the area where 38, 36, Fruitvale gangsters, all
Well,
that.
here's the thing. I used to know a couple of people from 38 that were actually from the town where I'm from. I'm not gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
I used to know but they were way older cats than I was, than my sister even. So I had a lot of older cousins. See, with me and my family have a really big family, but the age gap is really weird. Like you have people that are a few years older than me and younger cousins that were under me. So I never had really had anybody like in my age group, like within my age. So either I hung out with the younger cousins or the older ones. I usually used to gravitate towards the older cousins. And one of those cousins he used to claim or used to be affiliated with the Fruitvale gangsters. I don't know, back in those days, FVG would say it. But I mean, I never delved into that, so it was one of those things that he would do his thing or whatever he did. But all in all, no really bad experiences with my immediate family as far as that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I grew up around that stuff because my brother was involved in all that stuff.
Right.
And, he was from 36. So,
right.
I grew up with all them fools from 38, 36.
Right.
The OG.
So you probably know the people I know.
Probably.
Yeah, but now here I'm not going to put out names. So,
I remember a dude from Fruitvale that used to live on 39th. They used to claim Fruitvale, I think. I think he lived on 39th. My brother knew him back in the days.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to know. Yeah, I used to know some people in the neighborhood, that probably put in dirt and all that. But since we were people, because my family has been established in that particular neighborhood, I'm willing to bet my family and another family next door to my parents, we're probably like the oldest family in that neighborhood. Like we go way back. I mean, my parents got the house right after I was born in 79. So about not even a year, not even when I turned into a year. Before that, they lived like, I think it was in some apartments on East 8th, further down. So
that's
yeah.
Like Jingletown, ain't it?
What's that?
That's like Jingletown, ain't it?
No, this is going further. This is way further down. My dad was planning on buying a house in Jingletown. He told me the stories that he wanted to move to Jingletown. And I'm like, well, I mean, the houses there weren't that bad. There were some areas that were, but he chose there. Yeah.
I grew up in a neighborhood right next to Jingletown on East 7th Street. You know where that's at, right?
Yeah.
Like Chapman, East 7th. That's where I grew up.
Yeah, then you probably, because I know my dad had some friends that still live there in that area too. So
yeah,
but
I still know some people over there. It's been a long time, but I know some folks from down there.
Yeah. So so they moved, from some apartments down in that neighborhood, and they bought the house there, and they've been there ever since. And I feel like we're the ones that are more established in that neighborhood. There's a couple of other families there. That have been established there for more than 20 plus years, 30 plus years.
Did you know an older Chicano dude who's originally from West Oakland? He's got a house on 39th. His name was Gustavo Loza. You know him? Bald-headed dude?
No, probably. Maybe my I know him. What's that?
He used to own a house on 39th.
By where? Do you know exactly? Like
right past the park, a little bit down, going towards Otayes. Like between Otayes and the park.
Between Otayes and the bar?
And the park.
In the park. Oh, so that might be around. Yeah, that's my area.
Yeah, Gustavo. I know him from. He's an OG dude. Old dude.
Did they sell fireworks back in the days?
He owned a lot of shoe stores around Oakland. He still does.
Gustavo.
I have
I
a
used to
video.
know.
You know what? I have a video with him on here. I'll send it to you
So
later.
so check it out. Now that you said clothing stores and shoe stores and all that, I know that back in the days in that neighborhood there used to be this really old man. His last name was, I think he owned a clothing store called Rodriguez Clothing.
Oh, okay.
That was
Yeah, I
from way
remember
back
that.
in the days, though, man. And we used to know the people there in the neighborhood. I'm pretty sure the person passed away, many years ago already, because he was already up in age when I was a little kid. So I knew that, but maybe my parents know them. My dad might know them.
Probably
So
do. A lot of people in Oakland know that dude, Gustavo. He's pretty well known in Oakland.
maybe if I see his face, maybe I'll be like, okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I have a video with him when you're talking about Oakland history. I'll send it to you.
Right on. Yeah, I'll check it out.
But anyway, so where did you go to school, bro?
So I started off from kindergarten to third grade. I went to Jefferson Elementary up on 40th Avenue.
Oh yeah, I know where that's
And
at.
then my mom was noticing that I was becoming a little badass, like she didn't like the way things were going with a lot of friends that I used to hang out with. And I'm funny about that later in life I caught up with a lot of them. But anyways, from kinder to third it was Jefferson, and then from fourth grade to eighth grade I went to St. Elizabeth's.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
went there, yeah, to that school. And
okay.
then for ninth grade, I went to Calvin Simmons. And then from 10th to until I graduated, I went to Fremont High.
Orale. Okay, that's where I was supposed to go, to Fremont High, and then I ended up in Sacramento, not knowing anybody out there.
Yeah, Fremont High,
Yeah.
the school where the motto was do or die. Who said that? I think that was Goldie.
Orale. Yeah, sure. One of the dudes on here named Shortcuts, he went to high school there. You might even know him. You guys, I think, are about the same age.
Who is it?
Shortcuts. He's in the message board.
Yeah, okay, I gotta check it out. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we went. It's one of those things that I'll remember a lot of people. People remember me, but unfortunately, I have a very bad memory, and I don't remember a lot of people, and I feel kind of bad. I just don't want to diss anybody out, but it's just me. I'm very forgetful when it comes to stuff like that. But then after a minute, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. I remember you." So
So you
yeah,
went to
maybe.
St. Liz, huh? How was that?
Man, I hated it.
Really?
And the funny thing, yeah, but I'll tell you this: if it wasn't for that school, I feel like the education level from me, if I would, not to put down any public schools or anything, like, not to be mean, but I feel like that helped me out in the long run, educational wise and all that. But them nuns were no joke.
Okay.
They were no joke, man.
And
And I used
did
to
they smack
pay
you with the ruler?
attention a lot, huh?
Did they smack you with the ruler?
No, that was Mexico. I
Oh,
had that experience when my parents would take us to vacation to Mexico, because one of my uncles was like a principal up there
uh-huh.
in the town that we're from, and he would put me in school like during the Christmas vacation. That was messed up, right? And
Yeah.
then some teachers, one time I didn't care less about doing homework. One of the teachers brought me to the front of the class and she's like, "Put out your hands." And I was like, "Shit, I know I'm gonna get it." And then whack with the ruler, like, bah, bah. And I was like, well, but I had that experience. But
Somebody in the comments said, "Do you remember the cheese fries at Fremont High?"
yeah, that was actually not Fremont High. That was a lot in Calvin Simmons.
Oh,
They had
Calvin
that
Simmons.
too.
Okay.
Yup. And yeah, we would buy that. But yeah, but going back to St. Elizabeth's, man, the nuns, and yeah, they were no joke, man. And my mom wanted to keep me. She was like, my mom is one of those people that was like a worry, like she's really nervous and worries a lot and everything. She wanted to send me. She didn't want me to go to Fremont or Calvin Simmons. She's like, "No, I'm gonna send you to St. Louis High." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "Screw it." And then I just went to Calvin Simmons. I said, "I'll tough it out."
Back then, though, like if they didn't want your kids going to the hood school, they'd either go to St. Liz or you would go out to like Skyline or something like that.
Man, Skyline. I think the best high school in Oakland is Skyline from back in the days. I don't know about now, but back growing up, I remember Skyline was like the more preppy school.
Yeah.
St.
Yep.
Elizabeth's, yeah, but I mean, I think my parents, my dad wasted a lot of bank taking me and my sister, because my sister went for 2 years. I went for 4. And man, but you know what? I'm thankful for that, because that kind of, I feel like that prepped me up a little more. Otherwise, if that wouldn't have happened, I don't think I would have been as sharp when it came to like schoolwork and academics, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
So yeah.
man, it's like not like me, bro. I've always loved studying and reading and stuff, but I feel that a lot of my school experience in Oakland and in Sacramento, it made me not want to go to school. You know what I mean? Because of the environment and the teachers and the way they treated you.
So yeah, by the time I reached high school, I remember there was a point I was gonna drop out, and I spoke to my dad about it. My dad didn't care because my parents were more at that time were more work oriented. Like if you're just gonna drop out, screw it, go, but start work, and they would enforce the work ethics to me like at a very young age. So it was mostly working, working, working. You know, I remember in high school I wanted to get into the wrestling team and the football team. And my dad said, that's fine if you want to do all of that, but you better get your grades going or at least start working, but you're not gonna not work, you know? So I said, fuck it. You know, I can't do all of that. So I never did all that in high school, but I
Yeah.
wanted to do that really bad, you know?
Well, me, I have an experience where I wanted to join band class to learn how to play an instrument, learn how to read music, and they kicked me out
Right. Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah, with me in high school, they had like by the time I reached like 11th grade, they had like classes like academies, and I went to media academy where I wanted to do broadcasting and DJing and all that, but by the time I reached to that grade, they had already the classes were full. So then I ended up going to the newspaper class of my high school, and I stood there. So I was part of the newspaper class. Sam Boy was part of it too. He was like my partner in crime. So if he's out there, like
He's
we were, that's where I met him in 11th
boy,
grade.
go on class, Sam boy, and I'm playing.
Yeah, so we were all part, but it was a really fun experience though, because with that, we had the passes where we could leave school. So
Yeah,
we would just show the passes to the security guard, just go out and cut. So it wasn't a big thing, you know. We would do our thing, but you know, we would just go out and cut, go play
or you go hang
pool.
out by los mexicanos.
Right there, man. I don't know, right across the street from Los Mexicanos where the check cashing place at, you know, the
Yeah,
pool. Right there.
pool
They
hall.
had,
Yeah, I remember the pool hall.
yeah, right there. They also had the arcades right there in that donut shop.
I think shortcuts used to hang out there.
Yeah, like we would all hang out, you know. Yeah, there you go. Samboy said feature page editors by the time we were in the seniors in high school, you know.
Yeah. No,
But
remember, you remember there was a restaurant because my family used to know the owners by the right by there by the pool hall. I think it was called La Costa or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah. I
I used to,
remember that.
I used
Yeah,
to go there all the
mariscos
time
and all
'cause
that, huh?
we knew the family, bro. They owned that. They were like from Durango.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they used to. They were, I think they used
Yeah.
to live in the Dubs.
Oh,
Over
for
by
real?
City. I don't know if you know what that's at.
Yeah, I can. So say that again.
By East 15. You know, they used to call it Quince back in the days.
La Quince, yeah,
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 yeah. They used to
yeah,
live in that area.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
But
But yeah, we knew. I remember that pool hall. Like they got
yeah,
closed down. Remember?
yeah, I did. And then also we used to hang out like across the street from the high school. There was like this one pizza shop that had a bunch of arcades,
Oh, I
or we
think I
just
remember.
go home or do our own thing or just cut somewhere else, you know?
You remember Mama Rosa's Pizza on High Street?
No, I don't remember
You
that
remember it
one.
used to be like up High Street, like if you go up towards MacArthur.
Nah, man, I
You
don't, I
remember it?
don't.
Damn, I'm surprised.
Maybe, but you know, going up there, you know, I know I remember the mortuary going up there. I
Yeah, it
know
was going up that way
the
towards
park right there. Isn't that park right there? That's shit, wasn't it Maxwell Park? Isn't it?
yeah, by Maxwell Park, by
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Brookville and all that.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
maybe I have. Maybe I just didn't know it by name, but maybe I did see it because I know that area pretty well. But you know, maybe I just noticed it, but not by name. But I know that there was a lot of areas up there too. Yep.
Brookville.
Yep.
Brookville's in the deep. But yeah, I remember all that stuff, bro. I remember the fucking. I remember the pool hall. I remember Los Mexicanos. I remember the Talk of the Town. Remember the Talk of the Town?
Talk of the town, yeah.
I remember that. I remember the Zamorano, the original taco truck.
Zamorano right there. It wasn't the Zamorano right there next to Los Mexicanos, right? That one.
Los Mexicanos, yeah, in the
Yeah, Los
parking lot.
Mexicanos, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I remember all that shit, Ocayes and La Ciudad de Mexico. Remember those places?
So those places, like my dad knows the owners from all those places. From the Thais, rest in peace, the owner. I actually went to school with his son, Rolando. He actually went to school with me like around seventh, eighth grade in St. Elizabeth. And
Yeah.
after that, I don't know. A lot of them cats either went to Alameda High or they went to different high schools.
Did you know the owner of a place called La Casita? Right there by 30 by the park, by 38.
No, I didn't know the owner for that one. No,
Remember
not
there
that
was a
one.
little house there and it was a restaurant?
Yeah, I know where you're talking
Yeah,
about, but no, I never knew the owners there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know the owner. I know him not fairly well, but I know him. He's a cool dude.
yeah. And then also Discolandia.
Yeah, I remember the Scolandia.
So I'm gonna tell you a story, man. Let's see, Jay, if you know about this, because it's about your time too.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember this little this one Chinese restaurant that was right on 35th Avenue in East 14?
Cam's?
I think that's the name of it. It was next to that liquor store across the street from the cantina right there.
That was Cam's.
Okay, do you know whatever happened to it?
I remember the owner used to speak Spanish. He was a Chino that used to speak Spanish.
Right. But did you ever know what happened to that spot? Why they closed it down?
No, I never knew exactly why it was closed. I remember one day it was there, and then the next day it was gone.
Right. Allegedly, the owner was serving dog and cat.
Really?
Yeah, they caught him for that. That's what was around. That supposedly my dad told me that came out in the newspaper.
No me acuerdo.
That dude was selling. So I used to make fun to my dad because he used to like buying that sweet and sour pork.
I used to go there all the time, bro. I guess I ate some good cat.
That's what I told my dad. I'm like, hey, you used to go eat there. You probably enjoyed that cat, huh? He's like, I don't give a shit. It tasted good. It was like, but that's what happened to the spot.
I heard the talk of the town, like it was really filthy, bro. That's why they closed it.
That's another one I heard about that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember Jalisco's, the carnitas place?
Jalisco's, man.
Yeah, it was
by
down,
where was it at?
Going towards like East 14, going towards Funktown, kind of. Like a little bit before 14th Ave.
Maybe, I don't know. Because
no,
I don't see further down. If anything, like going down 29th Avenue, going closer to downtown, I wasn't that familiar back in the days. Even though I'm from the area, I mean, I would probably see it, but I probably won't remember it because I was mostly more from 29th coming up here to like East Oakland and all that area, Seminary and all of that spots, I didn't get to know that part of Oakland, even though I lived there my whole life until I was a bit older.
You don't remember the old Mexican movie theater, the Plaza Theater that used to be in Funktown?
Well, that was on 8th, right?
That was on like 8th and East 12th.
Yeah, my parents used to go there. I remember being 3 years old, walking up and down in the aisles when I was a little kid. My parents used to go to that one. Yeah.
They used to show all like the Mario
movies and shit, like all them perverted ass movies.
I don't remember that. I just remember
that shit back in the days.
Oh, you're talking about like Alfonso Sayas and all those weirdos?
Yeah, dude. I'm like, oh man, but hey, that was unfortunately that was Mexican theater by that time. It was some perverted crap that they started showing, not like back in the 50s when you have Pedro Infante and all of them old school people.
I remember seeing like La India Maria and Cantina.
Yeah, that started getting raunchy by then. Even though India Maria, I used to hate her, dude. I fucking didn't like that. India Maria.
I remember. What else? Mario Almada.
Mario Fernando Almada, yeah, them cowboy or contrabando movies and shit.
Fucking shooting hella peak when his gun never runs out of bullets.
Yup.
Yeah, I remember all that shit.
That was all the stuff that you used to rent out from Ciudad de Mexico, bro.
Or the Escolandia.
Yup.
Yeah, man. I remember the Escolandia when it was on Fruitvale, though. I don't know if you remember that. It was on Fruitvale.
Yeah, it was at a different spot, and then they moved it further back. They moved it further up. Like, they moved it a little. Yeah, I remember.
About the bank.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bro, I remember all these places. Half of the places you're talking about, I'll remember them.
Dude, man, I even remember going and shopping at Montgomery Wards before they tore it down. My mom used to come out with some big old comforters from all the way over there to 39th in her hands when we were little kids. Like, that was back in the days, man.
Remember Food Bell with the chicken?
That was Fruitville. Yes, I was gonna mention that, and now that's like the hub for the Fruitville BART station. But back
Now
in the days,
there's a mystery there that I'm trying to remember, and nobody remembers it. Not even
let's see, because I used to go there a lot with my
no, no,
dad.
I'm not talking about Foodville. This is
Mhm.
another place that nobody remembers. I had shortcuts. I had Sambo. I asked everybody in here if they can remember what it was, and nobody remembers it. You know where San Jose Taqueria is? Right next to Foodville.
Yeah,
What was it before? That's what I can't remember. I remember it was a restaurant, but I can't remember what it was before.
San Jose.
Nobody remembers,
A
bro.
little taco place right there next to Foodville, right?
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about, like getting near 35th Avenue near the corner.
yeah, and it's that one that looks like kind of like a mission, kind of.
It was always San Jose Taqueria, dude. From what I remember.
Something else when I was little. I can assure you that it was something else. But I just cannot remember what it was.
It's just that San Jose Taqueria used to be very tiny, and then it was like another. Well, you had the liquor store that was across from it,
Yeah, the liquor.
and then you had the pawn shop right there at the corner.
Yeah,
And then San Jose Taqueria was just like crammed up, and then they expanded it a little bit more.
I said it was probably a cat dog Chinese spot.
That was probably where the Chinese dude used to butcher the cats.
Nah, it was a Mexican place, bro.
No, that's fucked
I
up.
want to say it was a chicken place, like a place that specialized in rotisserie chicken. I want to say I could be wrong, but I could have sworn that's what.
But San Jose Taqueria used to do that, dude. That's what I'm saying. That was always San Jose Taqueria. But you're probably talking about further back because ever since I can remember, that was a taqueria. But then they expanded it a little bit more.
And then you know where Guadalajara is on Fruitville?
Yeah.
Towards Jingletown.
Yeah.
Remember that used to be Arts back in the days?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
Across the street from that cantina too.
Yeah,
see, that's where all the funny hoes used to kick it at too. That's what I'm talking about. All the hoes came out of that one right there.
Yeah, you're talking about the Aloha Club.
And all the way that whole area.
Yeah.
Man, it was heavy on that back in the days. I don't know. A lot of people used to see like the gang activity, the drug activity. What I grew up watching a lot was the prostitution in that area. That was heavy. Huh?
Somebody said, did you ever go to Jorge's El Tapatío?
Jorge's El Tapatío. That was
Fruitville.
By where? Just
Farnham. Right between 14th and Farnham.
I've probably never been, but I know of it. It's just been a long time since I've been. Huh? Oh yeah, La Fortuna. Yeah, dude. All the Mexican bread.
Like not even a block down from La Fortuna.
Across the street, like near the Clínica de la Raza?
Yeah, and on the other side. Going down.
I remember the mortuary. Another mortuary.
Not the mortuary, like going down towards Fruitville. I mean, going down Fruitville towards East 14th. I'm sorry.
Coming down to East 14 or going to Foothill?
Going towards East 14th. If you
towards East 14.
La Fortuna, you would just go down the same.
Yeah, La Fortuna's like right there, you know?
Yeah, and it was like just half a block down. It was that Jorge's El Tapatío.
Yeah, I think I did. Wasn't it this one spot almost at the corner of Fruitville and East 14?
Almost. And it was like
I think I know where you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think I remember it.
And then somebody else says, do you remember the Carnitas guy, the guy in the orange station wagon?
Remember his name Lino? His name is Lino?
I forget his name. And I'm senor, and he used to be in a red station wagon. He sell carnitas from the back.
If it's the same person I know, he knows my dad. They're from nearby where my parents are from.
Where is your family?
He's the old homie of my dad. So I know a guy named Lino. That his name is Lino. He would sell carnitas off the station wagon.
Yeah, that's gotta be him. That's probably him.
I know him. Oh yeah, he's a family friend.
I remember. I didn't know him personally, but he knew me, bro. Like if he seen me around, he knew who I was.
Yeah, really cool guy.
What part of Mexico is your familia from?
Jalisco.
Oh, okay.
They're from Jalisco. So
from Guadalajara.
Nearby, they're a few hours away from a small town. Biggest town is Ameca.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, we're about 45 minutes going westward towards Puerto Vallarta. Back in the days, it didn't have a road there, but now the road is more direct. So that's where my family's from.
And you've been to Puerto Vallarta?
Nah, man. And you know what? My aunt owns a house over there, and she used to invite us, and I never been. I've been to other spots in Mexico, but not that location in Jalisco.
Órale.
You know?
Yeah, so I'm actually Mexican and Salvadorian.
Right, right.
My mom is from Michoacan, from a place called La Piedad, Michoacan, but she grew up in Tijuana.
So La Piedad, let me see. Did you used to know the old pharmacist right
Yeah,
there that was near the 50, Luisito?
Luisito, yeah, he used to
Yeah.
have. He was originally in West Oakland,
He
and then,
moved to West Oakland?
yeah, because I don't know if you knew this, the old barrio used to be in West Oakland before it was Fruitvale,
Right.
back in the 40s and 50s. So he was from that generation, and then he moved
Ooh.
he moved to over there to the 40s.
Right.
Yeah,
Because his nephew that was practicing, I caught up with him in college, and my sister used to know him, and we kind of commingled a little bit. So I knew the nephew of his he was taking him under his wing to be, I don't know if to do like the shop or take over the shop or something like that by that time when I was already like in college.
yeah,
So yeah, I remember. Yeah, Luisi. So he moved. I'm assuming he passed away already, huh?
yeah. He probably gone now. I mean,
Yeah, man.
if he was back in the 40s and 50s, he's probably
Man, that guy used to go there with any ailments, man. That guy knew the cure, dude. Like we would when we were kids, man. He gave me one time, this horrible tasting medicine, but that made me feel better.
I remember he used to give
Like,
my mom and dad these things called remedios. Remember
yeah,
those? Yeah.
yup. Yeah, man. That was Luisito. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, because I remember his botica was La Piedad.
Sam Boy asked a dumb question.
What does school say?
He said, when are we gonna talk about the cute chola that used to work at Jack in the Box and the Doves? You probably don't remember that. Maybe you do.
What chola? What's he talking about?
Oh, I told the story back in the days on here that I remember going to the Jack in the Box and the Doves, and we would all always be jocking this girl that worked there. She was like a chola. She worked there for hella years, but she was hella fine, and everyone would be like, "Damn, she's fine." So everyone would go to Jack in the Box just to see her cute little ass.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
You
man,
guys are funny.
that was back in the days. But anyway,
Yeah.
well, now that we certified each other's Oakland card, you know,
And you can ask me more about going towards East Oakland. You can ask me about Durant Square, Eastmont Mall,
I remember.
Seminary, where Sam Boy's from.
Did you know? I found out something that nobody on here knows. Me and Shortcut know. Did you know the Italian mafia, La Cosa Nostra, was part owner of the Eastmont Mall at one point?
That I didn't know.
I didn't know that, bro.
Didn't know that. Where'd you guys dig that up from?
From an old news report. You know who they were? You know who they were connected to? They were connected to Tony Spilotro, who's the guy who was portrayed in Casino. The crazy one. The
Wow.
dude that Joe Pesci played.
Yeah, I know
So I was
about.
like, what the fuck?
Well, it's funny. It's funny you should say this because when I was working, when I used to work in Alameda, and my first job was at Hallmark, and in there was this one girl, some Italian girls that used to work there, and they used to comment me something about the Italian mafia, the mob.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about the mob here in this area? Like I don't think. But then I was like, I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah,
they're Italian, so I don't know.
Believe it or not, the Italian mafia existed one time in Oakland, San Francisco, and San Jose, bro.
I bet.
I'm gonna make a video about that one day.
That'd be interesting, man.
Yeah.
You should see if anybody you can find somebody that might know some info and interview them.
Yeah, if they're still
but just kind of be careful with that one, you don't want to open up old wounds.
I know. But anyway, that tripped me out when I found out that the Eastmont Mall.
That's interesting.
Okay, if you were into hip hop, I know you remember this. Harvey Nessie was the leader. That's an Italian guy who follows me. Anyway, you remember Soul Beat.
Whoa, hold on. Before you go, sorry to interrupt you. Maybe you should talk to that guy, Harvey Nessie, see if maybe he knows something about it.
He knows about it, bro. But he's from New York originally.
Oh, okay.
He knows. Trust me. But anyway, you remember Soul Beat?
Oh shit! Hell yeah!
Yeah,
that's a Soul Beat music station. The one.
I
Yeah,
actually
that
made
was
a
ghetto
video
as
about
fuck.
Soul Beat.
Huh?
I made a video about the history of
So
Soul Beat.
Soul Beat, the thing that was cool about Soul Beat, and I'm gonna tell you this, growing up when I was getting into the hip hop scene and all that, that's where you would find all your local Oakland rappers and all of that on Soul Beat. So because a lot of they never really bumped anybody other than Too Short and E40. Other than that, like other rappers, they wouldn't really show them like on the radio stations back in the days.
Yeah.
So that would be the spot to go check that out.
Soul Beat, and then later California Music Channel.
Yeah,
Yeah, remember that?
remember that. Oh
So
yeah,
let's talk about that, about your music, because I know that's a thing you're passionate about. So
yeah.
first let's talk about, I'm gonna talk about what got you into music, and we're gonna talk about what kind of music did you grow up on.
All
So
right.
what got
So
you
so
into
let
music?
me let me get into that. So prior from getting into the rap and hip hop, I would listen to all Spanish music, banda, rancheras, and all of that. One of the interesting things that I never really thought about it, but I think about it today, is that my dad, he used to record so many cassettes when I was a little kid.
Oh
He would
yeah.
hook up a microphone because he had that double tape deck. Like grabadora, like a record player thing. And one of the interesting things is that he bought it because he used to breed pit bulls. So with the money that he bought one year that he bred pit bulls, he sold all those pit bulls. He got himself that record player, and he would record. It was like a double deck cassette, tape thing that he would record. He would plug in a microphone and he would record like artists such as like I don't know if anybody out there probably is not gonna know, and if they do, it's like because we're going way back, like from Pedro Infante, Jorge
Yeah.
Negrete, Javier Solís, David César, like Los Alegres de Terán,
I know
like
all
I'm
those
talking
groups.
about Lorenzo de Monteclaro, as far as Los Bukis, like all of those people. Like he would record cassettes, and
Like los Arcos y los Acostas.
there you go, Carlos y Jose, like all of those, Relámpagos del Norte, all of them folks, right? So I ended up knowing all of those. When I was a little kid, my dad used to test me and ask me, oh, what's the name of this particular song I'm playing? I would say, oh, it's David César. Oh, who's this? Juan Valentin. So he would tell me all these artists and I would know. And he would be recording these. Little did I know that it was kind of like, mindset getting me ready to knowing how to record and doing things, right? Never thought about it. So fast forward to high school. When I got to the 11th grade in high school, by then I was really into the Spanish music, never into the hip hop or anything. This is where we get, and I'll put the homie Semboy out there. He introduced me to rap. At that time, he was really heavy into rap, and the first people he introduced me to was Eazy-E and NWA. And then the funny thing was that I introduced him to banda, to Spanish music. So it was kind of like we both swapped, because later down in life, he really got into the Spanish scene and I got into the hip hop scene. So it's kind of like we swapped. So
Was
he
he hanging
introduced
out
me to
at
Eazy-E.
Fandango Latino and like the East Mall when
Ándale, that's him. He would be going out to all of that stuff. To me, it was like,
Flankers, Flankers,
was that?
Flankers, Fandango Latino.
And my sister was heavy into that too. So my
The East
sister would go
Mall, they used to have the bailes at the East Mall.
Eastman Ball. Yep. But they were all be into that. But then I kind of swapped it with the hip hop. So then, I was in 11th grade. He introduced me to Eazy-E. And then, of course, I knew about Too Short and all the Oakland rappers and all of that. Going into high school, I used to always joke around and say, man, one day I'm going to be making beats. I'm going to be doing this and that and everything. And everybody used to joke and be like, nah, you ain't going to do nothing. You ain't going to do shit. You're just saying that. So fast forward after I got out of high school, around 98, I want to say it's like November of 98, around that time, late in 98. I bought myself one of those Yamaha like right now my girlfriend has this PSR 50 Yamaha keyboard, these giant keyboards that you buy for 50-60 bucks, but they have some really cool sounds in it and you can do MIDI and all of that. So I bought a keyboard similar to that, but during that time I bought it without knowing how I can be saving my music. So I bought the keyboard, got frustrated with it, I was messing with it, and I returned it. And I bought it at Circuit City at the time in Hayward, Yeah. So then,
right?
What was that?
It was by the mall off of Wington.
Right, by where Toys R Us and all of that was out there, right?
I remember.
So anyways, returned the keyboard. During that time, I was like, man, I'm itching to really do this, you know? So then around my birthday time, a few months later, I bought myself another keyboard, again, another Yamaha, but this one had those floppy disks that you can put in there and you can save your music. So I said, okay, this is what I was looking for. So I started messing around with it and, you know, making little beats here and there, just, you know, dumb little shit right there. And then in 99, that's when you know, me and Samboy were out there, you know, in the shack, you know, and I told him, man, I really want to get this music thing going. And so that's where I came up with my name, my stage name. So, you know, I know you guys know of Richie Rich and 415. He used to have a producer or a rapper named The Governor, right? So I told myself, if he's the governor, I'm gonna call myself Erik the Senator. That was what I remember. I was like, and it sounded stupid, right? You know, and I was like, nah, and Samboy and I were just laughing, joking around. And then I said, you know, all of a sudden I came up with Erik the Sinna, like sinner, but Erik the Sinna. And I said, well, you know, I ain't no angel, you know, we all sin. So I just kept that Erik the Sinna name. And that stuck to me. You know, that's what I went by. Okay. So now I have the place, you know, outside of the shack, you know. And I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. At that time, in 97, I started working for Lucky's, the one on Fruitvale. I worked at that Lucky's for a really long time.
Oh, the one that was on top of Fruitvale by McCarthy?
Right there. It's a Foodsco now, right there on the mall area where Ross is at right there.
Oh, you're talking about Jingletown.
Right, Fruitvale and East 9.
The Lucky's, huh?
Yep, that was Lucky's back in the days for many years. So, and then Albertsons and then all of that shit, right? But anyways.
I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that.
Right in 97, right out of high school, that's where I first started working. You know, before in high school, I was working at Hallmark during high school in Alameda, but then I got that job in right out of high school. I got the job at Lucky's. And then the owner of that Lucky's was his name was Ruben Perez. And that guy used to work in Los Mexicanos. So I used to know all them cats from when I was a little kid, when they used to work at the Lucky's on High Street, where Cardenas is at now. Yeah, I used to know all them people when I was a little kid, since I can remember. They all knew my dad, being that he was affiliated with Los Mexicanos from his padrino Ramon. So they all knew my dad and they all knew me, and I grew up knowing them. So he gave me a job there. So with that money right there, you know, I started saving. What's that?
Talk about how lucky you triggered a stupid memory, bro. I remember when I was a little kid, I got yelled at by a security guard at Lucky's on High Street.
Yeah.
And I just kept throwing it. I was like, whack. And what? You finally came. Stop doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So I mentioned Lucky's because it becomes a little bit of, it goes hand in hand with what I'm about to say next. So 97, I worked at Lucky's. In there, I met a lot of people. One of those people, and I was telling you earlier, was this one guy named Sergio, who I think he goes by DJ Surge or went by DJ Surge. But see, I didn't know he did music by that time. He worked in the produce section, and I was I used to work early on. I was like a stalker, like stalking, not a stalker. I said it wrong, but like stalking the like things like you know, the liquor and all of that stuff, right? And then I soon became a bookkeeper right after, like soon after.
For the mafia.
Was that?
Bookkeeper for the mafia?
Bookkeeper for the mob, you know, the lucky mob, you know. But anyways, because that helped me to become a checker really quick. That's what my boss told me. You become a bookkeeper, I'll turn you into a cashier, because that's where the money was at the time. So I was like, and it did happen. I became a cashier really quick, you know. But I did bookkeeping, and that's where all the bookkeeping and accounting came with me. You know, I was kind of forced into that in order to advance. But anyways, you know, I went in there, and then in 98, already working a little bit at Lucky's, I was able to afford more equipment. So I don't know if you guys remember in San Leandro, Music Unlimited. It's Music Unlimited in San Leandro. Back in the days, this was the spot where you would get your music equipment back in the days.
Was it right there off of like 100 and like kind of by where all the Mexican stores are at in San Leandro?
Well, there are now, but back in the days, remember I told you the video game thing? So right across from it was this one place called Game Masters. And I used to always go up there and buy video games. So that's how I knew about the Music Unlimited. So I told
It was
Semboy at
over
that
there
time, I
by
think it's
where
105th or
Sunway used
something.
to be,
No, not 105th. 100 and shoot, 145th or something like that in San Leandro
yeah,
and East
kind of
Palestine.
by, you know where Bal Theater is, and like
Andale, right there, right before it, right before it. I think
yeah,
it's right before it or around there. Anyways,
and the
so
Goodwill, right? There used to be a Goodwill over there.
I don't remember about that one. It was right past the, it's right past downtown San
The shop
Leandro, I
that
believe.
the shop there. I'm just messing with
So,
you.
anyways,
That's my home, man.
right.
I'm just clowning.
Yeah, no, it's all good. No, but yeah, but I would go there and get games and video games. But then I remember spotting that Music Unlimited right there. So, like I said, the video game thing and the Music Unlimited thing became hand in hand. We'll
They
go
had
go get games and then go out there and look at the equipment. So in there, I bought myself an amplifier, a speaker, and I bought myself an Ensoniq ASRX Pro, which is like a drum machine or like a groove box that had these really
okay.
badass sounds. So I bought all of that equipment with Semboy at that time. I remember we went and grabbed everything, and then I started practicing, and doing the beats and all of that. So he was with me when I bought my equipment. I pulled out about $1,000 I think I spent there, but I had saved up the money and I got all of that stuff. And little by little, I became affiliated with people from Music Unlimited because I would go a lot there because the Ensoniq ASRX Pro allowed you to like copy sounds from an ASR 10 keyboard and you can export the sounds and put them into the drum machine. So they allow me to copy those sounds for free because I bought it there. So I would go often and get sounds and everything and everything, right? So lo and behold, I was doing that, for a while. And then Semboy, when we were talking earlier, right out of high school, college, Semboy and I had a big group of friends, a big group of people that we all hang out and go to Raider games and all of that. And a lot of those people, remember how I told you I caught up with people that I used to know in elementary in Jefferson? Well, all those people, I ended up hanging out with them after high school, around high school, college. So it was a big crowd, just a big crowd of folks. It was it was fun,
Was it a rough crowd or no?
What's that?
Was it a rough crowd?
Some of them were, man. When we were in the Raider games and all of that, I know some of them used to scrap, they used to get fighting or do stuff. But with us, we were all cool and everything. We try to, we never really went for that. But a lot of them were, and a lot of us were all kind of affiliated. So in that crowd, Semboy introduced me to this one guy named Caesar. I used to call him Big Caesar. And we clicked because he wanted to do some music thing and everything. So that's where I started Shack Records with him. Okay. And he, during that time, this is the funny thing. I was already making beats and doing things here and there. That guy, Big Caesar, introduced me to a couple of guys from the neighborhood. There were these rappers. They went by Lavishly. These two black dudes they went by Lavishly. I can't remember their names back then. But anyways, we would have sessions, record, and that's where I gained experience recording vocals and all of that. After that, I bought myself this one mixer, like a 16-track mixer. Before I had like a 4-track Tascam with a tape recorder. And then after that, I switched it with a digital one where you saved all the sounds and everything. So I got into all of that. And we actually made up an album. I didn't think about it like a while back when I was kind of cleaning up at my parents. I was looking for some stuff and cleaning out a closet. I came up with the CDs where I actually recorded an album with those guys, with Lavishly, myself, and Big Caesar, all of us rapping and doing stuff, right? But I never really considered myself a rapper. I never, I always wanted to do the beats and be in the background, kind of produce and mix and engineer and all of that. We did that. And then soon after, I don't know what happened, that we kind of fell off with the group Lavishly. It wasn't a bad thing, but we just kind of went our separate ways. And then soon after, Caesar introduced me to someone that he knew, which was this one guy named DJ Ronsky. Remember we were talking when we did that panel interview a while back?
Yeah.
He introduced me to DJ Ronsky. And DJ Ronsky, I guess he was someone that was affiliated, already did some music back in the days. And but this guy was making some tight beats, right? And he was kind of showing me. But one thing I did skip, going back to the Lucky's part with DJ Surge. I'm sorry, I'm kind of skipping back, going back a couple of years back. I was bugging at the time when I bought the equipment. I would bug DJ Surge because I knew that he was a DJ, and I used to bug him and ask him for pointers. Hey, what do you do? What are you doing? This, and that. And he would kind of tell me. He would be kind of humbled about me asking him. But I was kind of bugging him about it. But he was cool about teaching me a little bit,
Yeah.
little things here and there. But he later, I guess he later did this one rapper from Hayward, Carbonet. I guess he produced this album. But I'll tell that little story in a minute. Going back to the DJ Ronsky, he introduced me to Ronsky, and he was making these tight beats. And he had this one little, I remember he had this one little Boss mixer that was digital that he would save sounds, and he would record vocals, and he would tweak the voices. It was pretty badass at the time. And, he was making all these beats and all these cool beats and everything. So at that time when I had Shack Records, Caesar told me, why don't we merge what I want to do called Two Wise Entertainment? And he's the one who taught me about fictitious business names and all of that. And I went and we went to downtown and we registered Shack Records / Two Wise Entertainment. And that became like our little record label, right? And so that happened for a while. DJ Ronsky and us, we were making music, just, shooting the breeze in the shack and everything. And soon after, I'm trying to think back because it's been a long time. Okay, soon after, one day, Ronsky came to us and said that he was gonna make a beat with Mac Dre featuring Young Noble of the Outlaws. And I'm like, whoa. I may be skipping a little bit because by then he introduced me to his stepson, who was making some really cool beats as well, But then they had this one project that they were gonna do. And if anybody's listening out there, I really need help looking for this particular original song. I have it, but I want to know where the album came from, because to this day, I don't know where that album. I know they made it into a compilation, this one song, and I want to find out where it came from. It's like a lost media type of thing.
What's the name of the song?
It's called West Coast Pimpin'. Now Mac Dre released it after he died with Jay Diggs featuring on it with his lyrics, but it's a different beat. But I have the original beat. And the original beat is off the hook. It has Talkbox. I think some guy from Peekaboo Studios, I forgot his name. He did the Talkbox stuff. I was there when they did all the Talkbox stuff.
And
I also dabbled with the Talkbox myself. Huh?
Who might know something about that is the dude I interviewed the other day, GC Cadillac Chris.
Right.
He might know. He might know about that.
Yeah, so the guy, he might know. But I remember that they did a lot of songs with the Outlaws. They went on and made a couple of songs with them. But anyways, going back to that, I went to Peekaboo Studios with Big Caesar and DJ Ronsky, and the guy was doing the Talkbox stuff. And then at that time I was meddling with the Talkbox myself. So I kind of know a little bit with that. And we actually ended up doing our own little piece with that beat in the Talkbox, rapping on that beat,
That's like the Zapp and Roger Talkbox, right?
No, we're talking about Roger Troutman. Is that what you said?
Like Zapp and Roger.
Zapp and Roger. Yeah. Well, I actually have the same model keyboard that Zapp and Roger uses, a Yamaha DX100, because you can patch the vocals and everything from the Talkbox into that. And I actually have a healed Talkbox, but I don't know, it's broken, but I love the Talkbox sound. That's something I love to mess around with. And I used it in some of my beats,
That's the Chicano side of you.
Yeah, like that low rider and all of that. I like that Southern California vibe, like the DJ Quick with the Talkbox, I always say Rhythmalism is one of my favorite albums from DJ Quick, and that has a lot of Talkbox in there. So yeah, but going back to the story, so we did that, and then later they invited me to go to LA to record the vocals with Young Noble. But it just so happens that my manager at Lucky's, he kind of like he stopped me from going because they needed me, and I was like, shit, I really wanted to go because I would have met Young Noble, of the Outlaws. But the
Yeah.
Mac Dre part, I guess he did the vocals and send them out to them, because the story goes from that one song, West Coast Pimpin', from Mac Dre and Jay Diggs, was, I remember in one of the forums in YouTube or whatever, they gave the comments that they remembered when he was recording those vocals, and they asked him, "Who are you recording them for?" And Mac Dre said, "Oh, I'm recording them for some people." So they didn't quite say it, but then I jumped in and I said, "Nah, they were recording it for us for that particular beat."
Yeah.
But then, yeah, they made the song. I have a copy of the song. I'll shoot it over to you, Jay. Like, I don't mind showing it, but I don't want to, because it's one of those things that I don't want to. I don't want to. It's not my song. I kind of don't want to get in trouble with copyrights and
I hear
with all of that. But if you were to listen to the Mac Dre song, not to take anything away from the one he released, but to the one that I'm about to show you with Talkbox and everything, that's like some West Coast shit that you guys would be like, damn, it was badass.
So you met Mac Dre?
No, unfortunately. So that was one time that I had something to do, affiliated with that. The next one, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. When I was with Fast Track, Chill Will and them wanted to get Mac Dre in a song, and I told him I'll fork out part of the money for him to get the vocals if you make it into one of my beats. And they were down with it, but unfortunately, when we were about to get ready for that, they killed Mac Dre. So that was my second opportunity.
Well, that was around 2004, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, I remember we were all like saddened about the death of Mac Dre and the missed opportunity, but yeah. But going, yeah.
I have a quick question. So your beats, what were they inspired by?
So beats, I really looked up to the old school E40, Too Short and Banks. Producer wise was like E40. I think it's Tom Capone and who was the other one that produced for E40 back in the days? Tom Capone and there was another producer.
I can't remember. I do remember.
But anyways, those producers I loved. I love that sound, that mob music sound.
Double Barrel Daryl, wasn't that his name?
DJ Daryl was different, but DJ Daryl was another inspiration.
Yeah.
DJ Quick. Dre, Dr. Dre, of course, but DJ Quick is like one of my favorite all-time producers. And I think Samboy met DJ Quick when he worked at Lucky's.
No, really? Sam Bostic, somebody said.
So that's his story, though.
Somebody said Sam Bostic and Mike Mosley.
Mike Mosley. There you go. And Sam Bostic. Yup. There you go. Those were all my inspirations, and bangs.
It's more like from the whatchamacallit, the mob era.
Mob era, yup. 95, 94, 96. That was the era, Easy E, NWA, that was all inspired.
Everyone that I've talked to about music so far, especially Bay music, I always ask them this: did your beat making or just your music career in general get affected when everything changed to the hyphy movement?
Okay, so during the hyphy movement, I lived in San Diego.
Okay.
And we're getting, I'm kind of like jumping a big chunk. By that time, I was already solo. I was already Lucrative Sounds Entertainment, which would have been around 2007, 2000. After 2005, I went solo and I did my own thing, and I was Lucrative Sounds.
Okay.
But the hyphy movement, what I like was the Mac Dre stuff. Okay. Mac Dre, especially when he made I forgot that one song that was in the radio from Mac Dre that had a really cool beat. The one that said something about he had two bitches like Jack. He was talking about Three's Company. I'm feeling myself. That was the name of the beat.
Okay, yeah, I didn't
Sitting
really
in the bench and I'm feeling myself. That was like that's the song I'm talking about. That was cool, and that was when Mac Dre was coming up and making some cool shit. But then he got murdered.
Yeah, I guess I don't know too much about hyphy music because it wasn't my thing, bro. I didn't really listen to it.
Well, hyphy music, that's a lot of Mr. Fab, a lot of Keith the Sneak. His career shot up with that. E40 did too. Too Short did too. But all of that, I was listening through it from down in San Diego, and a lot of that stuff was already, I was kind of picking it up from then,
So
so I
let's go
missed that
back a little
chunk
bit
in Oakland.
to where
Huh?
you had left off. I'm sorry because I kind of sped it up.
No, that's all good. So yeah, going back to that beat. So then soon after they record that beat, and then I don't know what happened. I kind of just lost touch. I kind of noticed that Big Caesar started doing Two Wise Entertainment when they did that beat with Mac Dre and Young Noble. Him and DJ Ronsky started Ice Water Records. So now I was noticing that Big Caesar had his name dipped on all of our record labels. So if I would have, I started thinking this, not to talk shit, but the way I saw it was, okay, he's dipped in what I'm doing in Shack Records, and he wasn't even paying attention to what I was doing then. And then he's dipped into Ice Water Records, which is he's doing that Mac Dre, all of those songs and everything that he's coming up with Bronski. So I kind of figured, I'm like, he's putting more attention to that. I think it'd be more beneficial if I just do my own thing. So then, nothing was bad with Caesar or anything like that. It was just like I decided it kind of just fell off, not in a bad way. And so then around that time that happened, I began with Lucky's. They began transferring me to all over the East Bay, man. If you know any Lucky's in the East Bay all the way to Livermore, I pretty much worked them. I worked every single Lucky's, dude, from Berkeley all the way down to Fremont. We're talking about near the border of Milpitas, Fremont, which is where I ended up.
Did
right?
You work the one in Montclair in the mountains in Oakland?
I worked no, I didn't work on that one, but they wanted me to go there, and I didn't work the one on 90th and MacArthur. They wanted me. Those are the only things that I didn't get to work at, right? But every other one in Berkeley and everything was that.
It's one that used to be at Foothill Square, right?
Foothill Square, that's right. And I never worked on that one. Or no, I think I did work in Montclair. I don't know. I might have. But all in all, definitely not the one in Foothill Square. That's the only one I didn't work at. Everything else, I would have worked on it at one point or another. Yeah. So then I ended up in the one in Fremont, the Lucky's in Fremont. So new place, new area, right where you can see right there on Warm Springs, where you can see MC Hammer's mansion from up there. You can see his mansion. But this is the funny thing. Speaking of MC Hammer, here's a little story. I saw MC Hammer kind of from far away, and this is what happened. One day I went to Music Unlimited, and I was really cool with one of the cats that worked there. This one white dude that was really cool, man. And he came up to me and he's like, oh my God. I was there, recording my little sample sounds and everything for the machine. And I'm looking at dude, and I'm like, dude, what's wrong? And he's so like, you'll never guess who's in the store. My mind was because they had pictures of Too Short, Keep the Sneak, and all of them cats, right? So I'm like, oh, dude, is Too Short here? And I'm like, oh, is Keep the Sneak here? No, it's MC Hammer. And I looked at him like, because back in the days, that's when MC Hammer was doing the gospel thing.
Yeah.
Where he fell off and, and I was like, whatever. So, yeah, I forgot. I was also picking up some software for recording. So then I got my software. And at the time I used to drive, I don't know if you saw the cover of my second compilation where you have that green and white Cutlass.
Oh, yeah.
That car was known for that car. I used to drive that one all over the neighborhood.
Did you
so anyways.
Sideshow?
Was that? No, not back then. Back then, I don't think that car didn't have any. The one thing that was just a 350 Rocket. It wasn't a 442. So, yeah, I don't think it would have had enough power, But it still did its thing. But anyways, I had parked the car across where the Game Masters was at, and I was getting into that car, and then I saw MC Hammer on the cell phone, and then he started looking my way, and I looked back. And he looked at me and stared at me, and he gave me the biggest mean mug, right? Like he looked at me, just mean mug me. Put my thing in the car, and I looked straight back, and I went like, like how we do it, like sup, like that. And he looked at me, and I just got in the car and left, like that kind of pissed me off a little bit because I was like, what the fuck, because he gave me the, a lot of people were like, maybe he thought that he knew you. Like, nah, the look that he gave me was this really sharp, mean, you can tell when someone someone's looking at you with a mean look. And I said, man, fuck you. So I just like left, just got in the car and left. But yeah, but that was my thing. But anyways, going back, sorry to jump back and forth, but going back to the Luckies in Fremont. So
I heard MC Hammer was gangster in real life, though.
Supposedly, from what I heard, like later down the line, recently, not long ago, that he was. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I was into his music and all of that, and he's from Oakland. No disrespect, but that's his thing. I met him
when I was a little kid, bro. I've told the story on East 15th over there on Quince. And,
right.
I was a little kid. He was cool with us, but we were all kids back then. Yeah.
I mean, to me, I mean, I mean, I didn't have anything against that, but the way that he kind of looked at me that day is like, you don't do that with strangers. You may be MC Hammer. It's like, it's the respect thing, like, I respect him and all that, but man, he kind of gave me this mean fucking look, like, like, man, fuck you. I'm like, yeah, I don't care who you are. Like, that was back then. That was my mentality with that,
He gave you
that mean look.
He gave you the malojo, the evil eye.
Andale, like, dude, like, come on, man, And maybe, I guess, because he heard me probably talking to that one guy, maybe because when he told me that it was MC Hammer, and I looked at him, I was like I didn't care, I was like, okay, cool. It's MC Hammer, cool. But anyways, back to the, I got to the the Luckies or Albertsons, so whatever you want to call it at that time.
Bump to the bump. Bump to the bump.
Bump to the bump, huh? Oh shit! You can't touch this, nah. Yeah. But going back to that, I got into that one Lucky's in Fremont or Albertsons at that time, and there I met a lot of young kids, that were into the music thing, and a lot of them were into that a little bit. They were into that Andre Nicotina, Mac Dre and all that, which was cool, it was cool. Yeah. And then I met this one cashier. She was really cool. And we were all got along with the coworkers and all that, and then a strike happened. And like when Lucky strikes or Albertsons do a strike with the cashiers, some of the people they leave to go into the picket line, and they bring I forgot the terminology. This is a really bad terminology that they call them. I think that they call them forget the term, but they bring in
strike breakers.
Yeah, like these cashiers that they pay them a lot of money to take over your spot that they're not paying you.
Yeah, that's called a strike breaker.
Yeah, so they brought her husband, which was Money Mun, but I didn't know that. So, a lot of people were talking shit to him because and then I had respect. I'm like, man, that's messed up. You strike, you want to strike. I mean, the guy's looking for work is not his fault. And then later, because he was kind of quiet, and then I got to know Money Mun, and we clicked because he was a rapper, and I showed him all my beats and everything. By that time, I was already making a bunch of beats, and I was perfecting my craft a little better.
Where was Money Mun from?
Money Mun, he was from Fremont.
Oh, okay.
But I guess right now, later down the line, he moved over to Manteca, but I'll get to that point a little later because there's I kind of after the whole fast track, I was able to see Money Mun, and me and him clicked. We were very we used to take breaks together and show each other the beats in our songs. At that time, he was part of a group called The Franchise with his friend, and he's the one who introduced me to Chill Will and Fast Track Entertainment. Okay. So during that time, he was doing the whole rap thing and everything. So that I first met Chill Will at that time. That's where I had my In My Bed Productions, and I started that kind of like a transitioning thing from Shack Records. And I told Sam Boy I wanted to do the In My Bed Productions. Those silhouettes of those chicks that the paisas have in their trucks.
Oh yeah.
Like put that girl in the bed, and that was like my emblem that I was trying to design and do that, right? But that was gonna be my whole thing, In My Bed Productions, with that silhouette and everything. And I was trying to get, I'm not much of an artist or someone that can draw. I'm by all means, I'm not good at it, but I was gonna try to hire someone that can draw that for me. So anyways, I got with Chill Will, and That album I gave you, the beginning, Fast Track Entertainment, the beginning, I ended up producing 2 songs. He paid me for 2 songs, and one of them was the franchise, and another one was the song Click Clack that Chill Will made, and that was like he ended up making that like his main song, one of the main songs in this album. So from there, after getting along with Money Mun and all of them, Chill Will approached me and said, "Do you want to produce for us?" And I said, "Let's do it," and that's how I kind of got into Fast Track Entertainment. So during that whole time, I ended up signing a contract with Fast Track Entertainment as a producer. So I was like technically their in-house producer. During that time, they made a couple of sampler CDs with a couple of beats and all of that. By that time, Money Mun and his friends split up because of the fact the group split up. Because one thing that happened, apparently, what happened was that his friend ended up stealing from him. Like he broke into his home and stole from him, and he was very devastated because that was like his friend, that was his homie, and he was really down. I said, man, we were all like, forget it, let's do this, and we ended up doing more songs. We did a couple of sampler CDs. That's when Chill Will introduced us to Kahlua, J Dash, Show. Now, this is the one thing I just remember by going back and looking all of that, all my stuff, is that there's a rapper named Showtime that was there with the label. He soon after he split, but still did work for Fast Track Entertainment. Originally, he was part of the label, but then soon after he split and did his own thing, but he was doing music with us and everything, right?
Yeah.
So he was a rapper, and then so J Dash, Kahlua, Crooked Kings, and they were from Redwood City. So they were all doing music, and then eventually it was time to do the album. So I was doing a lot of production, I was doing a lot of work, and then right around the time he was going to release the album, I decided to bail. I decided to leave. One of the reasons, the main reason why I left was, they were doing all these shows, they were doing all these things. In my contract, not to get into the details of it, but I was promised a cut for being the producer. I don't know if these guys were getting paid or not for the shows at the time. And I came up to Chill and I told Chill Will, I'm like, hey, dude, when am I going to get paid? Are you paying your artists? Are you paying these people? I held my obligation of the contract and produced for you, but where's my cut? Are you gonna pay me or not? He's like, no, it's coming, blah blah blah. So stuck around. I finished the album. So in the album of Chill Will's album, it was called All Frames of the Game. I ended up producing 7 or 8 songs for that album. I was the majority. I was the one that produced the majority of the songs. And there were like 3 or 4 other producers that produced in there, but I was the one who was producing the most. One of the songs that I produced on there was a song with Adrian Man from 3 Times Crazy.
Oh yeah.
Knocking at my door. Okay. That I produced that beat. I also and I told you the story that I felt like there was another song that because his wife sang the chorus, the songs. His wife was doing the vocals for that. And he did another song. And I know Chill Will showed it to me, but it never came out. I don't know if it came out in his album or what, but I know there's a song out there with Adrian Man, aside of the one that I did.
And these guys were from where? From, you said Fremont, Redwood City?
So Chill Will was from either Pleasanton, because then he moved to Brentwood. I don't know exactly where he was from. He was from that area, Money Mun was from Fremont. He had another guy who was a rapper, and he was also like his A&R, which also rapped at that time. His name was Sirewater. He was from Philly. He was from Philadelphia. And then we had Kahlua. Kahlua was part of the label, and he was from Redwood City, which was part of Crooked Kings with J Dash. And then J Dash and all of them were part of Crooked Kings, another spot. So that's how we were all affiliated, And then I was from Oakland, so I was the only one from Oakland. So yeah, so
What timeline was this? What years were this around?
would have his album dropped around early 2005 because I
Oh,
left the label right around the time the album dropped. And I'll go over that.
this is during the hyphy era.
Right around the dawn of right around the dawn of it. Right around it was right at the beginning of that whole hyphy stuff, you know. But I know that I kind of cut because of that, you know. But I'll go over more in detail what happened. So I produced that. Some of the songs, like that song from Knocking at Your Door from Major Man and Chill Will, I made the beat because it's actually a cell phone ring from one of those like either Nokia or AT&T phones, flip phones. I challenged myself with Money Mun that I was gonna make that into a beat, and I ended up making that into a beat. That's how that came, and it came out into like a really cool little beat, you know. That's how I made that beat. And there's another song in this album called Whoop De Whoop. If you hear the intro of it, it's some guy just talking nonsense randomly. We were at a barbecue with Chill Will in Brentwood and all of that, and then I received a random message from some guy going, "Oh, happy nappy birthday from your uncle." And we all listened to it. We're all cracking up and everything. We recorded it and we slapped it, and they made a song out of that, and I made the beat for that. So that's one of the stories behind those. But going back to the whole thing, so then around 2005, that's when I said, "Nah, man, if you're not gonna pay me, I'm gonna cut." But then it was kind of like a little scuffle where I didn't want to leave the label. I was trying to get released, but I was not leaving until he paid me.
Yeah.
So, but then he told me, you got to turn over the beats that you created during that time. So I ain't giving you shit, you know?
Huh? Physical fight.
It wasn't a fight. No, it wasn't like that. It was like one of those things that I was like, I ain't leaving shit. I'm not giving you shit until you pay me. You know, like I made these beats. I gave you the sum of it in the email.
Yeah.
I made all of that shit, and you're not gonna pay me, dude. And, you know, in the majority of the songs that you're coming out, you're over here. He had San Quinn in a song that someone else produced in that album. Yeah. You know, and I was like, you could have just made it into one of my beats, and I bet you would have been making more. You know, you would have been bumping in more, because a lot of the songs that they were performing were my songs, were my songs that they made, that I made the beats for. Yeah. We had an event, you know, another song, Glock's Ready, is a remake of the Whisper song, Rock Steady. I remade that. They were bumping that like in a show. That was like their main song. It was going crazy. Had the crowd going with that song. And then you're not going to pay me, you know.
So at that time, where would you find your music, the music you were producing?
What was that?
Where would you find the music that you were producing back then?
Just anywhere, man. I always say that if you can smash a can and just hit a rock and make a beat out of it, and you can make something tight out of it, you can go ahead and do it. But
no, I'm not talking about the inspiration or what.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about, where did they sell it? Where would you find it back then?
Back then, so
he like the Rasputin, like
no, he was putting it in. I think he was putting it in Rasputin's. He had it in Rasputin's, and he was going around. It was in different places. Amoeba in Berkeley, I believe. I want to say there. You know, I can't say definitely. I think Rasputin's at the time.
What about T-Wazi's? Remember them?
TYUZ's that broke down after Isma Mall closed down. That's old school, man. I wish. No TY, nah, but he had it out there. And then, you know, I was telling him, I'm like, dude, I mean, you can't just go out. You made me up. You obligated me to do this in your contract, and you're not gonna pay the man. You're not gonna pay me. So I was trying to just hold off, you know. And then later he's like, I just gave it up. At the time, I had just gotten married, and you know, my wife at the time, she was telling me, nah, just release it, you know, just forget about it. And I'm like, yeah, you know, if I'm making beats, you know, I can make better ones. Not to say that they weren't bad, but my mentality was, you know, I can make more, you know. So it's all good. And, you know, the experience was good. It taught me something, not to jump in and sign a contract in the future, you know.
And it should you. They didn't take you like into a room and beat you up.
Shit. No offense. Nothing to say that. It would have been the other way around. I would have had to take him to a room and kick his ass, because he's the one who owed me money, right? I could have taken him to court, I could have done that, you know, but I'm not gonna do that, you know. And then nowadays, I know I sound, you know, when I tell this story, it sounds like, you know, like I'm still like edgy about it, but I'm not. You know, I let go of that a while back. It took me a long time to get over it, but you
Yeah.
know, I look at it as an experience now, and I'm like, yeah, it's all good, you
Yeah,
know.
it's a messed up experience, but we learn, bro, and we grow from that.
So from that, I learned how to read contracts. I learned how to copyright my music. I learned how to do a bunch of things that I would have never learned have I not gone through that. And now I know in the future, if I'm to make music, you know, I will do it as a contractual basis, not to get into a X amount of deal contract. I will be solo and just ask me to give you a couple of beats and do that, rather
So,
than me being part of your label. If I'm not going to jump into it right away like I did, you know.
so go
So
down the
that
list of some of the albums you worked on or done.
so basically, it would have been Fast Track Entertainment presents The Beginning. I produced 2 tracks on that one. A song called Summertime and Click Clack. Those are the ones that I did. I did a couple of sample CDs that were just handed out. In those, I had the song West Coast Pimps, not related to the one from Mac Dre.
Yeah.
I did Talk Box Sounds on that one. I did also, I forgot what other songs. Oh, I did a Computer Love remake, Ain't No Love. Did
Okay.
box to that. What else did I do? A Rumors remake. Look at all these
Yeah.
rumors. That song from Mike Marshall. I
Yeah.
remade it from Timex Social Club.
Time,
Redid that one as well.
they were from Oakland,
Um,
weren't they?
what's that?
Time Social Club. I think they were from Oakland, weren't they?
Timex Social Club was from Berkeley, and they
Okay.
were together with Club
Very-
Nouveau, so they had their funk and they split.
Yeah.
And Club Nouveau was the one who inspired the one that the Loonies got. I got 5 on it was from Club Nouveau.
Club Nouveau was from Sacramento, weren't they?
No, they were all Berkeley.
Really? I had heard they were
Yeah.
from Sac.
Now there's an interesting there. I don't know. I know I don't want to be name dropping other channels in your interview, but if you listen to the No Vultures channel,
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
yeah, recently he interviewed Mike Marshall and he told a story and it was very interesting about how he got into a scuffle with Club Nouveau because supposedly he made Jealousy, which was Club Nouveau's. It was part of Timex Social Club, and they got into like a big fight and like a big thing, you know. And Mike Marshall wasn't giving his props, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so did that one. And then I did the album, Chill Will's debut album, All Frames of the Game. And I produced about more than half, almost like, so I produced 7 songs. I want to say I produced an additional song because he remade Click Clack with another one of the producers that came out there, but he was inspired. So it was kind of like a remix or a redone, but he produced it. Some other producer, I think it was the producers, I want to say, was some guy named Vic Bala. God, I give you the names, and it was another. Vic Bala was one of them. I remember that name because it stuck out. And then another one, I got his name. Let me see if I know I have like a paper. I wrote it down. Aaron Bryant of Black Tie Records. That was another major producer. I don't know who they were, you know, but I guess he paid other producers to do other stuff.
So did you ever produce for anyone from Oakland that would be known? Except
No,
Gang, right?
other than Ager Man, and that's it. But man, I wish I could have. And see, that was my goal all the time. I always wanted to produce for somebody in Oakland.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that, but unfortunately, you know, it is what it is. You know, I got that opportunity to do that. Yeah. So then, yeah.
So, what are you doing now? Do you do music still?
Well, so it's still a little more. I know I don't know how long I'm sorry if I'm cutting your time or anything like that, but
I'd probably try to keep it under 2 hours at least.
Yeah. Yeah, because I still have more. You know, after I left the label, I spent a few years solo, and that's when I came up with Lucrative Sounds Entertainment.
Okay.
And then the first album that I did, Works of a Sinna, I did that compilation. It was supposed to be my album. I was gonna record, just do me, but then I ended up doing a compilation because at the time. It took me about like 5 years to do that first album, and the reason is I got sick. I almost died,
Oh shit.
and then I ended up having other issues. I got divorced and moved back home. But during that whole time, um, I was in someone in San Diego introduced me to SoundClick, and in SoundClick they used to have these chat forums, and that's where I met a lot of the rappers that I did these last two projects that I did.
That was
Um,
out in San Diego.
in San Diego, I got I started going into that, and then when I came back home to Oakland to the Bay, I was tapping into more rappers and all of that, and that's how I got a lot of the rappers on both of the albums. But there was the second album, Thump and Slap Music. That one was more of, remember how I in the chat forums I said chat forums, sorry, in the panel that I got into a few weeks back. I mentioned that I wanted to start a group called The Crisis. If you listen to that particular album, the Thump and Slap Music, it's a compilation album, but that kind of would have been the project where I would have made it into a group album, because there was a rapper there named Seasick, also went by Hypnologics, that I really got close to. I got connected to. He's from Illinois. And we started making music, me and him, and all of the stuff we did was just like really cool shit.
So it was way out there, and you were making beats from here.
Yeah, we were shooting the vocals back and forth and the beats, and we did all that, and we did most of that album of Thump and Slap Music. So that's why if you listen to that, I say Crisis shit. I throw out the Crisis thing. I wanted to make that into a group, but I was looking for a third rapper.
What year was this?
That would have been, I released that album on my son's second birthday in January. It's going to be January 2016. So it would have been a few exactly of what, like 4 or 5 years to the date.
Oh, okay.
6 years to the date, because my son's going to turn 9 in a couple of weeks.
Man, 2015, that went like quick. That was just yesterday for me.
Yeah, for me too, man. So that's when I made that second album, Thump and Slap Music. And I actually after I did the first one, the Works of a Sinna. Originally, I was gonna do a more serious album. I was gonna call it Life Everlasting. That was the title of it. But then it turned into this more kind of like a bouncier, more kind of like more upbeat beats and all of that. That I did the Thump and Slap Music. And I said, screw it, I'll call it that, Thump and Slap Music, because I had a lot of like heavy 808 kicks and things like that in the songs. And
so you're out in San Diego, you said?
No, by then, but after I released the Works of a Sin, I was already in the Bay. I came back to Oakland in December of 2012. And then soon after I was working, because I was, like when you're not with anybody and you're just like by yourself, you're not in a relationship, you're like hustling, you're working. So I really got into doing that first album, The Works of a Sinna. That took me about 5 years to complete, because I started it in San Diego, and then I brought it here, and a lot of things happened between there.
How'd you like living in San Diego?
I didn't like it, man. No offense to San Diego. The place is beautiful, but I fucking hated it.
Well,
like it's a totally different environment.
Oh, really? Did you like their French fry burrito?
Oh, you're talking California burrito.
Yeah,
my ex-wife introduced me to that shit. I was like, "What? What's a California burrito?"
Hey, the first
well, we're in California. What the
I never forget the first time this girl told me, "You guys don't sell California burritos here." I'm like, "What is that?" She's like, the California burrito. I'm like, "What is that? I don't know what that is." She's like,
"So yeah," she told me. She was telling me California burrito. I looked at it.
She told me, "I'm from San Diego, and we make burritos with French fries." I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" Like
the same thing she told me. That's the same thing my ex-wife told me. She's like, "Yeah, we live in San Diego. We do them with French fries." I'm like, what the fuck? Is it good? I was like, I liked it, Huh?
That's why I said French fries. I'm like, if that shit don't got rice and beans in it, that shit ain't a burrito.
Well, it had everything on it plus the fries. So I was like, okay, I dig it. But that's the first time I heard it, and then it crept up little by little up to the North Bay, because now they have them around here too,
Yeah, they're starting to have them now.
Yeah, I see them a lot here in Redwood City.
The area where I live, there's a couple of restaurants that sell them now.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so
did you like the one at least?
So I used to go, man, and it goes back to the story that I always used to get stopped when I used to come back home, dude. So I stopped traveling to Mexico because of that. The last time I went to Mexico, I went right before my son's birth, because my grandma was passing away in Mexico.
Okay.
And I went with my sister, right? Me and my sister came back, and I always used to travel from Oakland to Mexico and then come back to Oakland. That one year, I actually traveled from Oakland to Mexico, and then we were gonna be touching back in San Jose.
Órale.
And so I'm like, okay, let's do it. I've never been to San Jose Airport. Let's try it out and everything and all of that. So when I was there, they were trying to stop me, dude. Like they were gonna pull me to the side, and I'm like, what the, I always have that issue whenever I travel from Mexico back
They did that
home.
to me when I went to Colombia, bro. When I came back to Miami, they took me to the side to a secret room. I'm like, what? In Colombia and in Miami, bro.
Dude, man, nah. With me, they were trying to do that in San Jose, take me to a little room, and then my sister came along. She's like, no, 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 he's with me, because my sister, see, she has like a English last name. Her first name is also English, like Eric, like mine. So with her, and then she doesn't look Mexican, she looks more white, So
Yeah.
so they saw that she was with me, so that probably helped me out. But I was like, man, and I think it's my name because
Not
my
me,
name
bro.
is Jose Gonzalez,
They,
and then my mom's last name is Rodriguez. So,
yeah.
dude, I'm screwed,
In
And then
Colombia,
my full
they
name Eric doesn't show up. It's only Jose E.
in Colombia, they were tripping, bro. They were like, ¿eres mexicano? I said, no, yo soy de Estados Unidos. Y they're like, ¿por qué estás aquí en Colombia? Le dije, porque soy turista. ¿Por qué? And they just started tripping, bro. And then
Yeah,
they took me
man.
to a secret room, searched all my shit. And then I get to Miami, bro. And then they do the same thing. But Miami, they didn't trip as hard, but they took me to a secret room too. And un cubano, he was an immigration officer.
Damn, dude.
He's like, ¿vienes de Colombia? I said, yeah. He's like, ¿qué estabas haciendo allá? I said, nomás fui de turista. And he's like, oh, okay. And then
Like,
California, I'm like, yeah. They were in Miami, they speak Spanish to you, bro.
antes they didn't open up your briefcase and started looking for all that coke.
No, in Miami, bro, I tripped the fuck out in Miami. Everybody speaks Spanish there, bro.
Yup.
Everybody. Like the immigration officer was a United States immigration officer, and he was talking to me in Spanish.
Yup.
Even when I talked to him in English, he kept speaking to me in Spanish.
Yeah, and that's the thing too that I did, because I speak Spanish very well, but not as fluent as I used to. I'm more used to English now, and I mix the Spanish with English. That's more of my habit, but I can stick around and speak English more, and they they would bug me. And then also when during the time that I was married with my ex-wife, we would take my ex-in-laws to the airport in Tijuana. And then we would come back, and then I would be stopped, and they had us there for like 2 hours and stuff. And I was like, man, that ain't cool, and it was because of me. They were searching me, like asking me all these questions. And then mind you, the profession that I've worked since I was in San Diego, I work for nonprofit, and I work alongside government like HUD, Section 8. So my name's out there as somebody that's worked in that field, And they still bug me with that. And I told, man, I work nonprofit. I work alongside Section 8 housing and all of that stuff to this day. And they still stop me. I'm like, man, yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when I don't know if they mess with me in Colombia because of my history with political activism in the past. I don't know. I really don't know, bro.
And I'm kind of in that same field too. Remember, I was telling you about the stuff that I was talking to you earlier about.
Yeah.
Back in the days when I was dating this one chick that used to go to Berkeley, UC Berkeley, and I'll throw it out there. She was a mechista. She was from Mecha.
Was she a feminist?
Was that?
Was she a feminist?
Who knows, man? I don't know. But
feminist is right.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think so. She was out with me. I mean, she could be with me and she can still be a feminist, but but anyways, but she was heavy into that. And I wasn't part of it, but I was tagging along, by affiliation. Yeah. And ever since then, I remember that ever since then that I was going out with her and all of that stuff, I feel like I was kind of blacklisted whenever I travel
Yeah.
Before that, I never had any issues, man. I would back in the days when we were kids, we would pass the border through Nogales. We would do a bunch of stuff and everything. And ever since I started, when I started going out with her and being affiliated with that, they kind of, they used to stop me a lot, and I didn't like that.
Everybody in the comments keeps messing with me about because I was eating a bowl of kettle corn when we started the the live.
I'm all drinking coffee right now.
They're saying if you like kettle corn.
Kettle corn? Yeah, I do, but I like butter popcorn better.
I like kettle corn more than popcorn, believe it or not.
Orville Redenbacher.
Yeah. Remember Pepperidge Farms? That was
Pepperidge Farms, yeah. Pepperidge Farms, I remember the cookies, man. Those little gingerbread cookies and all of that shit.
So basically, all right, we talked a lot about the music. So how did you end up okay, are you still in music now, today?
To this day, because of family and all of that, I don't really do the music thing. I may catch myself doing beats here and there, kind of like messing around, but I feel like that inspiration, that spark is not there. But I feel like one day if I get that spark, I'll probably get back to it again. Do I want to get back into the music? Hell yeah, I do, because I love it. It's something that I love to do. But in the moment, if it's out there, I try to do things here and there, but like I mentioned, I'm more into that video game stuff now, like video game reviews and all of that, and collecting. And I have my own channel that I do game reviews.
You got the original Nintendo?
I don't have the original Nintendo, but I have the original Genesis. I pretty much have all the consoles. I pretty much have almost everything.
Earlier, if you have the Power Glove.
No, Semboy does.
Semboy.
I'm gonna throw it out with him. He does. Semboy got this fool got that Power Glove for really cheap. He hustled that Power Glove because that thing has cost a lot of money now.
What was your favorite Nintendo game?
Damn, dude, favorite Nintendo game? There's a lot of them.
I was a Nintendo kid more than Sega. I never had Sega.
Well, funny story is that originally when the Nintendo and the Sega Master System came out, I actually chose a Sega Master System, the old Sega. But then I got into Nintendo. Favorite Nintendo game? I don't know. There's just a lot out there. What
about Super Nintendo game?
That's another system that I really love too. Super Nintendo, that I liked it. PlayStation 1. It's hard for me to choose one game, I have a lot of favorite ones,
Let me guess. You got an Atari 2600.
I don't, but I have one of those like plug and plays that actually emulates a bunch of games in one.
Yeah.
Used to have a 2600, but I let go of it.
I used to have one when I was a youngster. Remember Donkey Kong?
Dude, man, well, my very first video game I ever played was on my cousin's house playing I played what was the one with the Pitfall?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember that. And yeah, Donkey Kong, that was another one. For other people out there, it started in Atari, not Nintendo. So did Mario. Mario started in Atari.
There was Street Fighter, there was fucking
dude, I got funny stories. I got a funny story about arcades with Street Fighter and all that. There's a story that I'm gonna release soon in my channel, my video game channel, that has to do with Street Fighter. But back in the days when we were in St. Elizabeth, in junior high, we had this one friend who got addicted to Street Fighter, right?
What the fuck?
This fool was, it's really hard to cut class in St. Elizabeth because, it's very tight, to get out there. So this guy was calling in sick, and he was going to this one, I don't know if you know the laundromat that's right there on the corner of 35th and Foothill. There's like this little laundromat area.
I think so. Yeah.
So anyways, it turns out that this guy was cutting class, like getting coins from his grandmother, spending them on the arcade. And he told us that. And we were cool. We were like, okay, dude, be careful, because if you get caught, the nuns here, the people, they're gonna fuck you up, right? And your grandma's gonna get mad at you. So, anyways, I guess one of the other kids snitched on him, and when they found out, the grandma found out, boy, that grandma beat his ass. Like he got caught and beat his ass, and he was telling us, did you guys tell? I said, we didn't say anything. I said, we told you to be careful, because other kids out there were just kind of snitchy like that, We didn't say anything. We're like,
Did you ever go play the video games at a 4-star pizza?
4-Star Pizza, they had those arcades right there too.
Remember, you know where they had them too? I used to go play them. Remember the round table in Alameda across the Fruitvale Bridge?
Sandboy worked on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna throw it out there too. He worked. That was like a high school job for a lot of my friends there at the Alameda one and Blanding.
Yeah, I'm blending because I lived right
Yep.
across the bridge. So remember, there
Yep.
used to be the Winchell's Donuts there. It was open all night.
Winchell. Yep.
Yeah, and then across the street was the video place. They used to rent movies.
Yep.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
remember
Yeah,
all
man,
that.
I remember all of that, dude. You're bringing back memories, dude. Do
Yeah,
you? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you another one. In this particular place, Durant Square had some arcades posted there too. In
arcade.
Durant Square. Yep.
Yeah,
I used to go there. Huh?
early on or later. I can't remember.
No, it was during that time. I remember going there because I used to be bored because my mom used to kind of go out there and check out stuff, and my dad and I were just bored and shit. And my dad gave me a couple of quarters. He's like, "Here, just go play." And
Yeah,
I would just be there. He would watch me just play
I
and everything.
vaguely remember video games because I mean, whenever I looked around Square, I was always going there to buy clothes or something, bro. So I can't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why, my mom will go shopping and everything, my sister sometimes and everything. And me and my dad will be like, just hurry up, like, and we would just be there.
Yep, I bought fake colognes and
Oh, yeah, man. That was a spot, Durant.
yeah, Grand Square. Yeah, I remember that spot. I bought hella shit there back in the days. I used to go there all the time. Like a lot of my outfits used to be from
Yeah, me too, Durant. And then also, what's another spot? Oh, right there where there was a hospital past 29th Avenue. It was like an indoor flea market.
Yeah, the old Oakland Hospital.
Yeah, the old Oakland Hospital.
That's
Yep.
where Shortcuts was born. He was born.
Well, let me tell you another story right there. My dad got sick one time and he was taken to that hospital right there. And he was
Yeah.
posted there for a couple of days.
I remember
So,
my
yeah.
mom. My mom had a surgery at that hospital when it was still
Yeah.
yeah, like back in the 80s.
Yup. I remember
Yeah.
that. It was scary because my dad was really sick and we thought something bad had happened, but it was like nothing really serious. I forgot what it was.
A lot of
And he
people on here
got
are asking me if you knew. I don't know what his real name is. I think his real name might be Javier. Uh, did you know Don Suave?
Don Suave.
He used to come on here. He was from Oakland, bro, and he was he was a cool dude, man. But unfortunately, he got into an argument with one of our followers, and he never came back.
Don Suave. Don Suave.
I think
Javier?
his real name is Javier. He told
Where
me
was he from?
he was from he grew up all around East Oakland. He told me in the deep. He told me he lived around Fruitvale too. He told me he had went to he told me he went to Bret Hart though, and he went to I think Skyline, I think.
He went to the more preppier schools, huh?
Yeah.
He didn't go to the hood. He didn't go to Fremont or fucking in East Oakland. What's the other high school that was ghetto as fuck?
Castlemont.
Castlemont, dude. Those were the worst schools, man. In
Well, what about
Oakland,
Mac?
they used
What about
Oakland, in Oakland Tech,
What
huh?
about Mac in West Oakland?
McClymonds?
Yeah.
I don't think that was that bad from what I used to hear back in my time. The worst schools were Fremont High and Castlemont, and then of course you had that continuation school. Fucking what was the name of that continuation?
Oh, you're talking about not Street Academy, right?
No, not Street Academy. It was
Dewey.
Dewey. Yeah, there you go. It had Dewey. That was worse, man. That was like whoever just didn't give a fuck was sent to Dewey.
Yeah, my brother's
Yep.
dumbass went there.
So I remember that, but
You remember Street Academy, the Emiliano Zapata?
Which one?
Emiliano Zapata Street Academy.
See, by the time the Street Academy started popping out, I was already out. What year would have this been? In the 2000s, right?
It was there since the 60s, bro. And it
Really?
I think it's
I've never
probably
heard of
still
it.
there.
For real? Nah, I never heard of it.
I think when we were growing up, they had already moved it to like North Oak, downtown Oakland, kind of.
Well,
It
maybe.
was originally on the Dove, right there on Miller and Quince on East 15.
Yeah, nah, man. I probably might have at the time, but I don't remember it. Nah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know that person, Javier. Nah.
Yeah, but that dude, Javier Suave, he clowned me good, bro. He got me good. He was like, bro, I've been to your hood and I never seen you there.
That's funny. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure y'all will catch me during the weekends at least, like around my neighborhood and area. I go there often.
You
Go to
probably
Oakland
run
a lot.
into me, bro. I'll be around there all the time, bro.
Yeah, but I don't really be like out in the street a lot. I'll just be in the, with my parents, visiting my parents and all that, and
You know
because
that
you
dude
see
right
the
there?
kids and all that.
He goes by the name Rasa Business. He's from Oakland.
That's a business.
Yeah, he's right there, like in the comments.
I don't know unless, man,
He's from the
that's a
30s
business.
too.
Dewey High School, Dewey.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know unless I know by names or whatever, and by faces, or
yeah.
So I don't know. I may have.
You never seen me around, bro. I used to be around there all the time, all those areas back in the days.
What was that?
You never seen me around? I used to be around those areas
You
all the
seem
time.
familiar though. I might have seen you around, and that's when Sam Boy told me about you, and I looked at your picture. I was like, I think I've seen him around before. I
Back then,
might
I
have,
used to roll around in a blue box Chev.
I don't
Back
know. Just like I said, if you would have seen me around in that green and white Cutlass.
that green and white Cutlass, I might have seen it around, bro.
Well, during that,
another green lowrider. Remember, there used to be a green lowrider. It was a Monte Carlo.
So yeah, I remember the Monte Carlo, but I'm gonna tell you like this. I feel like there was an older guy, like an old man, who used to drive another green and white Cutlass. And then I brought that green and white Cutlass out there, and then soon after, a lot of people started copying the color. I don't want to give myself props for bringing that out, but soon after I started putting that color out there, everybody started having that color in their cars, green and white, green and white. It's like, I was like, shit, But I had that car for a long time, and then I used to drive a Cadillac. But I used to during that time I had it was a new Cadillac though at the time, 97.
I had a Cutlass, a 77. I had a 78, and then I had the black Chev.
So I had a 82 Cutlass first car, and then I had that 70 Cutlass, and then I had the 97 Cadillac in El Dorado. But this was during the time when they first, like, early on, people used to tell me I was one of the youngest cats that used to have a Cadillac at the time.
Yeah, Vogues on it.
With a Cadillac,
Did you have Vogues on it?
Huh?
Did you have Vogues on it?
It was I kept it stock, and it was all black, and it was like tinted. Fucking cops used to pull me over all the time for that car because everything was tinted, and I was like, hey, that's how I bought the car. Go with the dealership. That's how they sold it to me.
Yeah, man. You never went out to the sideshows when you were younger?
Nah, man, because a lot of the stuff when they started getting really popular was when I was already, around that time, right when I was about to leave, So that started making it more popular, and they were going all around a lot in my neighborhood, all over the place, I didn't really need to go out for sideshows because they would do them right there near where I lived.
Remember they used to do them on High Street by Fremont High?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep, right there. All that whole area, 42nd, all of that area right there on not 42nd but 41st, right there by the puff and stuff and all of that. It used to burn all over the place right there. Those corners right there. So
somebody said that we don't want to admit that we baffed into each other on East 14th.
What's that?
We baffed into each other on East 14th. We crashed into each other.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to be affiliated with that, huh?
Yeah. Well, hey, bro, I gotta get off, bro. It's been 2 hours, and and plus everyone's going to sleep around here, so I can't be too loud.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, me too, because then my kid's gonna get up early for school
let
too.
People know where they can find your music and name some albums. See if we can look them up for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll post them in the comments. Most of my stuff, my immediate albums are on datpiff.com. Just search Erik Tha Sinna or search Lucrative Sounds Entertainment. They'll pop out. As far as the fast track stuff, that dude doesn't have anything posted out there. You would have to kind of buy his album, Okay. But all that work, it's really hard though. And that's pretty much it,
Somebody said, did you ever go to Santa Rita?
No, not to the jail, no.
I went one time. I was like, fuck that.
Not to the jail. I know I think one of my cousins did. He was kind of drunk or whatever, and they sent him to Rita. And my uncle was pissed off. He had to go pick him up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
man.
spent a week in that bitch and I hated it, bro. I said, nah,
Nah,
I can't
man.
do this shit.
I avoided jail. I try my best to be low key in that sense. I don't wanna.
I
I
feel
don't
you,
wanna
bro.
get caught up in that. Huh?
I feel you, bro. Bro,
Yeah,
like
no.
I said, I was getting in trouble back then, bro. I was fucking up, and then I went to jail, and I said, yeah, this ain't for me, and I never went back.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
mean, with me, it was just like, we just had fun, man. Like, how you say mamadas and all of that shit and just clowning around and having fun. That's all we did, man. And whoever wanted to join in, like whether they were like thugs, whether they were nerds, whatever, we all got along with everybody. We didn't want to make it into one of those things that, okay, it's not gonna be,
that's what I tell people. Like that's how Oakland kind of is, bro. If you ever
Yep.
notice, because I lived in other cities, bro, and in Oakland, we all tend to get a like. I'm a nerd, bro. I'm not a fucking.
Yeah, me too. I'm not, believe it or not, I'm a nerdy cat too. I'm
I'm a
not,
nerdy.
know.
Bro. I'm what Richie Rich says. I'm a cool nerd, a cool
Yep.
square.
Or
You
like
feel me?
Mac Dre said, I'm square and I stay sharp.
Like my homie Marijuano right there. Like he a real gangster from East.
Marihuano.
He's from my barrio, but
Yeah.
I'm not a gangbanger. He went through the shit, but that's my homie right there. You feel me?
I'm not a thug. I just crush a lot. There you go. What was that? That was
Oh,
what's his
that
name?
dude Marijuano, bro. He's from where I'm from, bro. He's cool people.
Right, right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
probably.
Like he's cool with me, even though I don't bang, and he grew up in that element. It's all good.
Yeah.
We still folks from the hood.
Yeah, like I said, man, we probably a lot of people maybe that are in the channel, we probably bumped around each other one time and we probably kicked it or something, I'm pretty sure that if we meet in person one day in the future or we ever bumped into each other, we'd probably say, hey, yeah, man, I remember you, this and that, so you got to keep it like that, man. I'm not for the starting trouble or any shit like that. I just want to have fun and be cool. Now I have kids. I don't want to, I want to put that out there. Plus, the work that I do, I can't be getting into trouble because I got to be careful with that in my profession. What I do, a lot of that shit, I'm out there, not out there in the public eye, but I'm out there in the neighborhood and in the area with the job that I do, and I don't want to get into a lot of trouble or do a lot. And that's probably another reason why I don't get into the music thing a lot anymore, is because of the element, and what I do in real life for work. I don't want to put it out there and be in a bad affiliation. And then with what I do with nonprofit and all of that.
So you work in the nonprofit sector
I
now?
work nonprofit. I actually manage 2 properties. So
Okay.
I do property management and all that. And, I can't be out there, I have staff, I have people that, I kind of, I gotta be a certain way, I can't be out there acting the fool, and gotta keep it solid.
How do you like living out in Redwood City area?
Well, I like it. I like it a lot, man. It's cool. I enjoy my time being here. I've been here for more than 5-6 years now.
You
I'm
ever
in
been
the area.
down,
So like huh?
you ever been down Middlefield at Little Mexico?
Well,
Little
I'm from that area around there. I'm
Oh,
close by
okay.
from there, downtown Redwood City. That's
Yeah,
where I'm at.
my brother lived there for a little bit in that
Yeah,
area.
Little Mexico, Middlefield, the whole
Yeah,
area,
yeah,
Casita Chilanga,
yeah. I know all that. I know
all
all that whole
that stuff.
sector.
Yeah, the whole area, Middlefield. You go all the way down Middlefield, takes you all the way to Palo Alto. The whole
Yeah,
area, that whole street is long.
yeah, man.
Oh
All
yeah,
right, all right, bro. Well, I'm gonna have to cut it. But any last words, bro? How'd you like the interview? How'd you like coming on the channel?
man, I love it, man. Anytime you want to do another one, let's go for it. I got a lot of stories, dude. Like not only you just went into the nutshell of the main stuff with the music, but man, there's a lot of stories, that to be told. So yeah, man, I'm down for it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
have the time.
We could do another live in the future, bro, for sure.
Yeah, sounds good. I would like to get that guy Semboy. I know he's probably not watching anymore because I know his kid was sick,
I
and
told him to reach out to me, bro. You
yeah,
could
he's shy about it. But I'm like, man, just go out there, man. He has a lot of cool stories. He
tell him.
has his own stories of his own. Yeah.
Tell him. You got my number, so tell him to reach out
Yeah,
to
I'll
me.
let him know. I'll let him know for sure. I know he's gonna watch this interview tomorrow morning, so he's gonna be watching what I'm telling him right now just to get on it. But
Somebody, somebody say you got a Super Mario mustache.
what was that?
Somebody say you have a Super Mario mustache.
Shit, I'll probably go hitting up some shrooms. Now I'm just playing. No,
All right, bro. Well, any
you
last
got it.
words, bro?
No, that's it, man. Just thank you for having me. I'm glad, somebody finally got to hear my story, because
Sure.
we're putting in work, as Latinos and all of that. And, it's good that you have a platform where we can get on there, and tell our stories.
And we could tell old school Oakland memories.
Yeah, man, you just brought me back. You actually brought up some more stuff that I didn't think about until finally, like, I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, but it was fun. It was fun talking about it.
Orale, pues, bro. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll have you on again, bro.
Yeah, man, no problem. And I'll be out there, while you do videos and everything. I'll be out there in the
I'll put a
comments.
link in the description to the email you sent me. Not the email, but the link of your music for people.
Right on. Yeah, those are my most current albums. Hopefully, if in the future anybody wants to work anything in the future, I got a ton of beats out there. SoundClick is a place where you guys can listen to all my instrumentals. You guys like something, just let me know. And then, they're just sitting there. At least someone else, they can rap to them or whatever. Just, maybe I can make a compilation and work something out and make another compilation.
For sure.
I like doing compilations. That's pretty fun.
You should come check out one of my shows, bro. I show you some of my music.
Yeah, man. You got that, the Colombian stuff that you showed me, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I hope you didn't take any offense with what I told you earlier about how the music sounded like but that's actually, believe it or not, my daughter, my kids, that's
Let them
something.
know. Let them know what you told my music sounds
So,
like.
so for you guys out there, Jay was showing me a lot of his work, before we got into the interview, and I told him that Colombian music, it sounds very cumbia, very cool, but then I told him that it reminded me a lot of the cartoon Encanto. I know they're gonna crack up out there in the thing, and the reason is because my little daughter, my 2-year-old daughter, she loves Encanto. Like that's a movie that's down in the heart, because that's one of her first cartoons that she started seeing, that she started recognizing. Yeah. And to this day, while we were talking, for Christmas, we gave her the house for her toy, and it plays the music. So when you were playing that, I was hearing that. And I was going to take a picture of it and show you, but I said, no, I don't know if you're going to take offense to that. But I think one of the reasons that cartoon got a lot of props is because it's another cartoon that Disney showed raza, aside from Coco, because Coco has that old school Pedro Infante style, and then we got Encanto now with the Colombian music and all of that. And I thought that was great, and I loved it. I love it.
You're right about the cumbia, because cumbia comes from Colombia.
Yup. Like the cumbia sound and all of that, and it just reminded me of my daughter and all of that. So to me it's not a bad thing, but I mean, I didn't know if you were gonna take offense to it, and it was no offense to you, but man, it's something cool, and it's upbeat music. Like I said, we make music for people to dance to bop to, have fun. I think nowadays a lot of the music out there is really, with rap, it just shows a bad message. We need to bring that.
It's weird because, like I'm the opposite. I grew up with rap and oldies and funk and R&B and that type of music. I didn't like Spanish music when I was a kid. I didn't start liking Spanish music till I was about like 17, 18. I started liking Spanish music.
Right.
I liked rap, but even now I listen to more Spanish music than I even do rap now.
So with me, I listen to everything, like nowadays I'm more open, like before it was just heavy rap, but then I'll listen to rock. One of my favorite stuff that I listen to more than rap is old school funk, R&B and all of that, like 80s, 70s, like the Whispers, the Cameo, New Shoes, music like that, Timex Social Club, all of that music, Zapp and Roger. I listen to a lot of that, but also I'm open to, like, if I hear rock, I can identify some, like some rock music, like other type of music, because when you do music, you can't just be closed down to one thing. You got to be open to everything, even if you don't like it, or you don't, you got to be open to it.
You like heavy metal?
I don't, but hey, if it's out there, you got Judas Priest and things like that, I actually thought about remaking one of his songs, Judas Priest, because it has a nice little riff, like I thought about that, I haven't, no one's rapped to this, but remember how I told you the story? I remade that song from Bohemian Rhapsody. I made it into a beat, and it sounds very like Lowrider.
Yeah.
sounding, and that's a rock,
Yeah.
different ballads and different things. So,
I
I'm
learned to appreciate that song as an older adult. I didn't like that song when I was a kid. I
Me
got
neither. Bohemian Rhapsody, no, and it wasn't. And even during the time that it came out in whatchamacallit, in Wayne's World and all of that, I thought it was stupid at first when I was younger. But then as I grew older, I learned how Freddie Mercury did that song with different genres of music in one, and I was like, boy, this guy was ahead of his time. Different tempos that mixed it into one particular song, because Bohemian Rhapsody, believe it or not, has different tempos and different. It has opera, it has rock, it has like ballad, and it's different music meshed into one, and
sure.
that's what makes it special. So
Yeah. All right, bro.
yeah,
Well, I don't mean to cut it, but I got to
it's
get
all good,
off.
man. I understand.
All right, got now.
But
Thanks
peace
for
out.
coming in. We'll do it again for sure in the
You
future.
got it, man. You got it. You got my number. All right,
Yeah.
man.
All
All
right,
right.
man. So yeah, that was the interview today with Erik Tha Sinna. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that interview. We talked about his life as a music producer, growing up in Oakland. You know what I mean? If you guys want to leave a super chat or a cash app, help out you feel me? Help out the channel. There it is, right there in the link. And to achy breaky heart. And yes, actually, I have these right here. These are not kettle corn. These are just as good. They're pretzels with peanut butter. I'm gonna eat one for you guys. Ah, laugh at who? I don't laugh at nobody. More corn funds. More good. Well, yeah, that was Erik Tha Sinna from Oakland from 3900. And, damn, it's hard to talk with this peanut butter in my mouth, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that interview. And for sure, I'm gonna get off because I have been on here for 2 hours, and I gotta get off and want to get some food real quick. And I will talk to you guys later. You guys be safe. Oakland Latinos United. This was my first official live or live with Jay for the year of 2023. So let's keep it cracking. All right, y'all. Be safe. Late.